Chapter 499, 999th Cycle's First Day. When I come to my senses, what I see is not the familiar scene from before. Not the river of scenes, nor the 10 thrones beneath the black sky, but simply an infinite and boundless darkness. The deepest and most colossal existence. The endless darkness itself that is presumed to be the oldest one. So I've been taxidermized after all. In the end, it seems that regressing right in front of this existence is meaningless. It appears that my authority of regression will come to an end on this very day. Until now, it has been a good life. It's when I think so. Woven. From the boundless darkness, a light bursts forth. The light is pure and white like salt. I have seen that light before. It's the same light I had seen on Pinglai Island. The light of Salt Mountain. When I regain my composure, the light has formed a wheel before my eyes. A wheel far more radiant, beautiful, immense, and sacred than my own, a wheel of pure white brilliance. And as soon as I come to my senses, the wheel begins to reverse. Kiyang. At the same time, I sense a deep sigh laced with lamentation erupt from the depths of the darkness. Simultaneously, I sense something twisted being reversed and returning to its normal state within the wheel's reversal. It feels as though my canvas of myriad forms and connections has eased a little. And just when the wheel halts its reversal, and my canvas of myriad forms and connections feels significantly lighter, I suddenly realize that I am moving farther away from the oldest one. This is Kiyang. Once again, the familiar river of scenes rushes past me, and far in the distance, the black sky emerges with the illuminating 10 thrones. The oldest one has let me go. From a great distance, I seem to hear a voice. We will meet again. That definitely seems to be the meaning behind the voice. As I fail to understand the will of the oldest one, who is letting me go, all I can do is nod. Achwiya. The process of reversing through history is quite long. After all, retracing 200,000 years in a single leap naturally requires some time. Taking advantage of this gap, I look up at the sky that has now become a little familiar. The 10 thrones within it. No, 7. Among them, only 7 thrones are shining. It is then. Sururuk. The light flickers for a moment, then 3 more thrones brighten once again. The number of thrones have become 10. Due to the regression, the thrones are returning. It is at that moment. Is it because my realm has risen? Or is it because something unusual has occurred with the thrones returning? I begin to see something new. From those 10 thrones I can perceive something. Those are symbols. They are symbols. Among the symbols I had seen before in Yong Seung's ring, some of them are now visible, emitting light from the thrones. However, I cannot perceive them clearly, and I can only recognize the symbol of the mountain exuding darkness. That mountain symbol, naturally, belongs to the great mountain supreme deity. Since it is a symbol tied to the connection between me and my senior brother, I recognize it instantly. As I confirm the great mountain supreme deity symbol, I sense the familiar moment of regression approaching. This time's moment of regression, where will it be? In the past, regression was always fixed upon reaching the head realm. If so, will it be fixed this time as well? As I contemplate this question, I welcome the new 999th cycle of regression. Light envelops me. Woven. I come to my senses, and I immediately grasp the current situation. So it's here. Is this fortune or is this misfortune? Die. I find myself in an all too familiar regression point. I am standing right before Blood Yin. I see the authority of the Blood Yin surging toward me. However, unlike before, Blood Yin no longer appears as despair itself. I've been through far too many terrifying things for that to be the case. Who? Exhaling death energy from my entire body, I rapidly accelerate my mind. Though the body I inhabit is at the integration stage, I have definitely restored all of my original authority at the time of my death. And ever since reaching void shattering, my authority has begun to accumulate with each regression. Thus, I am now in the sacred vessel stage. Silence and be respectful, Chinese letter. With my mind accelerating after rising to sacred vessel, I utter a single phrase, and Blood Yin flinches. I have come sent by the Imperial Venerable, former Chief Judge, respectfully uphold propriety. Kiyang. Behind my head, a wheel emerges. At the same time, liquefied death energy undulates around me. With a solemn gaze, I glare directly at Blood Yin. Even though true immortals are, without a doubt, true immortals, and staring directly at one means enduring overwhelming pain, I have already witnessed true death. Therefore, I can bear the fear and pain of gazing at a true immortal for a moment. Under my stern rebuke, Blood Yin flinches and shudders before halting on the spot. Then immediately after, Parrot. Blood Yin reveals a form they have not shown even once throughout the entirety of the previous 900 cycles. Blood Yin's form shrinks. The massive lump of blood mist that was Blood Yin shrinks to a size comparable to mine as they transform. Sururuk. Transforming into a human form, Blood Yin, now concealing their presence, locks eyes with me. I can't help but be surprised the moment I see their appearance. They somewhat resemble Cohreal, but at the same time, there is a lingering impression of Yu Hao Ti. With eyes that look slightly fierce, but a countenance that could appear exceptionally kind if he smiles, an overall soft impression. Does the distinguished one have proof that he is the envoy of the Imperial Venerable? He sharply questions me. However, I respond without faltering. I was sent by the Imperial Venerable. Verify it for yourself. Do you not possess the eyes that judge all vice? This is no jest, but the simple truth. I have returned to this time point, because the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld granted me permission to regress and sent me back. Wowung. For a moment, red energy flashes in Blood Yin's eyes. Then, letting out a low groan, he kneels on one knee before me. Quajing. Simultaneously, the surrounding space begins to be rewritten. With Blood Yin's will, a small dimension forms within the interdimensional void, and both he and I, along with my comrades, are relocated to a space resembling a reception chamber adorned with gemstones radiating dark red light. To the one sent by the Imperial Venerable, this, Blood Yin, pays his respects. I apologize for being unable to welcome thee under the name of Yu Hao Ti. Though he usually refers to himself as Yu Hao Ti, it seems he still has some conscience that compels him to properly introduce himself as Blood Yin, as he recognizes me as a fellow Reaper. I survey my surroundings. So he created a small dimension on the spot. I could think of it as a simple reception chamber, but it's a type of barrier meant to prevent me from escaping in case of emergency. I cannot let my guard down. I convey the words of the Imperial Venerable. You, the former chief judge, are to immediately abolish the clone called Hyun-Eum. May I ask the reason? It is the doing of the Imperial Venerable. Do you not trust this? For a moment, Blood Yin raises his head and looks at me. My legs feel like trembling under that crimson gaze. This isn't fear, but a sort of instinct. An instinct born of the overwhelming disparity in rank between a sacred vessel and a true immortal. Understood. Snap. Blood Yin snaps his fingers on the spot. Simultaneously, an illusion appears before my eyes. This isn't an ordinary illusion. It's practically a dimensional passage connected almost directly to the astral realm. Out of the 2,401 stars, 2,400 simultaneously lose their light and crumble into fragments. The constellation known as Hyun-Eum no longer exists. All that remains is a single planet. What is the reason for leaving one behind? It is because I trust in the Imperial Venerable. If you truly have faith, then sever it without hesitation. Then Blood Yin glares at me. As expected, this wretched bug has deceived this immortal. Upon hearing those words, I gather my comrades and immediately detonate my integration stage body without hesitation. Quaying. Right here on the spot, I initiate the advancement ritual for the star-shattering stage. Quajijijik. Under the self-destruction of a grand perfection integration stage, the small dimension tears apart. Kurarung. Nebulae spread outward, and I feel Blood Yin once again in his true form glaring at me. Do not expect to die peacefully. How dare you impersonate an envoy of the Imperial Venerable and destroy this immortal's clone, spy of light? Kagagugugu. An immense pressure crashes down on me. It seems I've made some sort of mistake in front of Blood Yin. Is leaving a single star intact something the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld would have normally allowed? Or was there some gap shown in our brief conversation? I quickly condense my origin star. In the previous life, I reached the sacred vessel stage of the Heaven tribe, and also underwent the advancement ritual for the Earth tribe's sacred vessel stage. What remains now is to complete the Earth tribe advancement ritual perfectly with this origin star, and face both the star-shattering and sacred vessel heavenly tribulations simultaneously. If I succeed, I will truly reach the three great ultimates of the sacred vessel stage. A spy of light, you say? What a strange claim. You summon the Radiant's 8 immortals yet dare to speak lies. Immediately. Blood Yin uses some kind of transcendent authority. However, I silently turn the wheel. I declare, your authority shall be rewritten. I've endured that single strike. Blood Yin used to subdue me many times before. I've come to understand it to this extent. Pazazasa. Blood Yin's attack truly transforms into a wave, merely sweeping over me. I can sense Blood Yin's astonishment. However, I still feel a powerful distrust lingering in the depths of his consciousness. Because of some mistake during our conversation, it seems he won't believe me no matter what trick I pull. If that's the case, I'll have to proceed as originally planned. This is actually better. In the first place, bluffing in front of Blood Yin was nothing more than a gamble, thinking, would he believe me if I do this? On the contrary, just having him kneel before me and smash Hyun Eum to that extent is already a gain. Seizing the moment when Blood Yin is taken aback, I quickly move from the interdimensional void to the astral realm. From behind, I hear the sound of Blood Yin's enraged roar. But I begin to manipulate the attraction force of the sun and moon heavenly domain. Weaving. The laws surrounding me rotate like a wheel. At the same time, the dimensions thicken, sealing tightly so that Blood Yin cannot enter. Kagagugu. From beyond, I can feel Blood Yin trembling in fury, attempting to break through to the sun and moon heavenly domain. And finally, Quachiang. A section of the sun and moon heavenly domain collapses, and an enormous, colossal red arm bursts through. Simultaneously, the universe is rewritten. Under Blood Yin's will, the universe changes in various places. However, I see it. How Blood Yin manipulates this world, and how the universe obeys his commands. I can escape, I'm sure of it. Wherever Blood Yin sends his will to form a barrier, I send mine to dismantle it. When he sends his authority, I reverse it. When he sends a curse, I reflect it. When he uses attraction force, I respond with repulsive force. Blood Yin's single arm and I are competing on nearly equal footing. However, it's not enough. If this drags out, I'll definitely lose. Even now, Blood Yin is so enraged that he's not in his right mind, which is the only reason I'm managing to exchange moves with him. It's not enough with just this. More and even stronger decisive move. Severing mountain swordsmanship. 33rd move. Sumeru. The Sumeru sword dance draws a circle around me, beginning to borrow the power of the sun and moon heavenly domain. Once again, the sword spear heavenly lord might obsess over me. Therefore, this time, I block even the possibility of such an outcome at its root. Severing mountain swordsmanship. 34th move. Kunlun. The move of Sumeru and the move of Kunlun unite. I transform Sumeru's final decisive stroke into a thrust, spreading the thick death energy of me and the entire world. Then, stepping beyond the underworld, I unleash a single thrust that reaches true death. Kiyaving. For an instant my body transcends the sun and moon heavenly domain. And Blood Yin's true body. I can perceive beyond it all. Payet. A thrust faster and more precise than anything else. Puwek. Immediately after. The world freezes. It feels as though the vibrations of the entire world have subsided. At the same time, I hear the scream of Blood Yin, who now has a small hole in one of his hands. I immediately turn around and leap across dozens of light years, using the ground shrinking technique. The one and only means to desecrate Blood Yin's fate, which I couldn't use in my previous life, due to the sword spear, Heavenly Lord's interference. In this life I will use it. Kagagugu. The universe trembles. Blood Yin, who had fired his arm at me, refrains from directly reaching out to grab me, perhaps wary of Kunlun, or perhaps cautious of the wheel. Instead, massive hands formed of blood mist emerge, stretching out to seize me in its place. However, that much is enough. As long as Blood Yin doesn't act directly, this is enough. Crack. For some reason, A throbbing sensation is felt in my left shoulder. I briefly sweep over my shoulder with my consciousness and quickly understand the cause. The scar left by the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, has somehow followed me even into this life. However, because I just used Kunlun, enveloping my body with death energy, the power of the underworld that surrounds me seems to prevent it from affecting me. This rather works out well. At this moment, the power of the Radiant's 8 immortals would only be a burden. Therefore, I suppress it instead. TSTSTSTSS. I completely seal the scar with death energy and accelerate even faster through the universe. Then, Kagagagugu. 50. Entering, Nirvana true persons block my path. Smirk. True person seniors, what business do you have here? From behind, Blood Yin's spell bears down on me. From ahead, true persons with whom I have unresolved enmity surround me. Each of them blocks my path with their clone, growling menacingly. Each clone is at the sacred vessel level. The time has come to repay old grudges. You, who seem to have been lucky enough to reach the sacred vessel stage, do you think you can escape our grasp? I look at them and sneer. Does it not feel strange that someone who was just at the 4-axis stage, until recently has now reached the sacred vessel stage? We understand what you're trying to imply, but true immortal Blood Yin has vouched for it. You are, in the end, not a true immortal. Wei Yang. Without saying another word, I summon the wheel behind my head. As expected, it doesn't work, but this time, I might just be able to carve out a gap and escape. The possibility is high. Just as I'm thinking this, and prepare to activate the wheel, the true persons begin convulsing one after another as they fix their gazes on the wheel behind me. I stare at them, unable to comprehend their reaction. What's this? Did they see something they shouldn't, like during the phenomena extinguishing mantra? All the better for me. Because the result is so unexpected, I quickly glance back at Blood Yin's spell, which has nearly caught up to me, then leap onto the clone of one of the true persons and activate Crystal Glass to Treading Sea. R. Crystal Glass to Treading Sea. Ghostface killing Heaven's Furnace. Dujajujajudo. The flames of the Crystal Glass to Treading Sea engulf me. Simultaneously, the flames twist and distort as they transform into ghost fire, exuding pitch-black ghostly energy. From my entire body, streams of ghost fire surge forth, dyeing the surroundings. And then, over the immortal attire covering my body, faces begin to emerge. Each face takes the form of a skull, with expressions ranging from agonized suffering to serene calm. However, they share one common trait: every single skull weeps tears of blood. The skull faces emerging over the immortal attire total, 999. Chia. At that moment, ghost fire spreads to my face, changing its form as well. My original face becomes completely covered by a mask with the texture of charcoal. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears. The 7 orifices vanish entirely. What remains is nothing but a faceless charcoal mask, emitting ghost fire and fiery streams through its cracks. On top of that mask, several eye-shaped patterns, representing curses, etch themselves, creating a grotesque and eerie impression. The ends of my arms and legs sharpen into jagged edges, reaching a point where they could easily be called devil claws. Quajuduk. In this state, I stand atop the clone of the entering Nirvana true person, raising the wheel high behind my head and intimidating the true person. Move immediately. If you do not obey, I shall transmit the wheel directly to your main body using this clone as the medium. You. The true person trembles with rage, but perhaps understanding that my capabilities are sufficient to back up my words, they move their swallow-like body and quickly streak across the universe. The Crystal Glass to Treading Sea form optimized for curse and ghost path methods, the ghost face killing Heaven's Furnace, can indeed do such a thing, so it isn't a lie. Can't you go faster? Quajijijijik. The eye-shaped patterns on my mask begin flowing from my hands into the true person's clone. In response, the clone screams madly and accelerates even further, moving through the universe at faster speed. Hwei. In the far distance, I can see Blood Yin's spell growing further away. At this point, one might think I've shaken it off, but I don't let my guard down. Fate is near absolute. If I were on equal footing with those beings, I might be able to shatter the absoluteness of fate head-on, but as long as I remain below them, that's almost impossible. In other words, as long as the prophecy exists that says, I will meet Blood Yin and face death by his hand. Even if I escape Blood Yin's grasp now, it is my fate to encounter them again someday. Therefore, I shall desecrate fate. Using the information Ohisio had given me in my previous life, I begin to calculate the coordinates. There, the clone of the true person. Grabbing hold of their head, I pour even more ghostly energy and curses into the body, driving it into a berserk state. The true person's clone lets out a pained scream and flies rapidly towards a distant star cluster. Then it happens. Kuang. Tingle tingle. A massive sound reverberates from behind me, and a spine-chilling sense of foreboding spreads through my entire body. That's. Though Blood Yin's spells are hundreds of light years away, I can see it clearly. It must be a type of immortal art that transcends distance. What appears is a hanging scroll formed of dark red mist. The scroll unrolls downward, and writing begins to form upon it. What it records are the charges of my sins. I declare, your vice shall be judged. Chills. Blood Yin, this narrow-minded bastard. Are you really using an immortal art wielded by the authority of the chief judge in his prime against a mere sacred vessel? Hear me, Seo Yunhyan, spy of light. You, possessing the attraction force of light, dare to steal my lord's immortal art. Thus, you shall be charged with the sin of coveting the authority of the underworld. Kagagugu. The entire universe began to tremble. However, I'm on the verge of madness. He's been calling me a spy of light, a devotee, claiming that I summoned the Radiant's 8 immortals. Just what kind of nonsense is he spouting? Still, instead of trying to make sense of the situation, I focus on responding first. I must stop the judgment. Can that too be rewritten? Clang. Suddenly, a shackle used for prisoners is fastened around my neck. Soon, visions of karmic fire surging wildly around me appear. I can't move. Due to the severity of the sins, sinner Seo Yunhyan shall be executed by dismemberment and exiled to the true devil realm for reincarnation. No, no. Not even the wheel can rewrite this. This is truly unavoidable. I'm about to become a 3-layered Seo Yunhyan pancake. Kung. Blood Yin's immortal speech resounds throughout the universe. What? Why does the judgment not activate? Are you saying this immortal's insight is wrong? Are you saying this immortal's judgment is flawed? This is a thief who, as a believer of light, stole the immortal art of the underworld. So why is this immortal's judgment out of alignment? I don't know what's happening, but... Crash. I shatter the shackle as it is, and continue to coerce the clone of the true person. This is impossible. Kagagugugu. Behind me, several fixed stars explode under the wrath of Blood Yin. The light from the far reaches of the universe flickers violently, and crimson shadows sway madly. This is truly a true immortal. I still can't compete against Blood Yin's authority. The gap in authority is simply too vast. All I can do is move forward, focusing on getting as far away from Blood Yin's influence as possible. Just then, Quarvirung. A sound like the collapse of space echoes, as a giant peng bird with one wing large enough to shroud the sun appears before me. The peng bird's form is half-transparent, as if it exists both within and outside reality. Its 2 eyes burn bright red, like smelting furnaces. Insolent thing, do you dare mock this immortal? I turn to look at the sacred vessel-level clone of the quasi-immortal that I am holding. The clone that I have been holding onto suddenly smirks, then with an oddly gloomy face, transforms into a black-haired woman dressed in a neat black skirt and black jigori. Jigori is the upper garment of a hanbok. Search Kochagori Inus for images. Pazazazag. The black-haired woman melts into something resembling black slime and covers my arm. A curse? No, this is just a simple 5-element spell. It seems to be a water element spell. The black slime writhes as it spreads over my body, while the black peng bird before me. The main body of the true person who I have just been coercing and using as a mount roars furiously as if consumed by rage. You dare mock me? I will tear your body to shreds, plant madness within you, and torment you as my immortal treasure for hundreds of millions of years. Kagagugu. As the peng bird flaps its wings, an interstellar wind begins to surge. Kagagugu. The attraction force of the universe warps, and something begins to be summoned in front of the peng bird. Realizing its identity, I am utterly shocked. Antimatter. A mass of antimatter, the size of a moon, is being summoned at the center of the interstellar wind created by the peng bird. As the antimatter comes into contact with the matter of the universe, it instantly transforms into chi, exploding together with light. Wuduk wujujuduk. Observing the lump of antimatter, the size of a moon, release an explosive force capable of casually surpassing an entire star system, I quickly take the starting form. Kunlun simplified form. Ground shrinking combined style. Dusk scattering, Chinese letter. This is a technique where I compress a slight concentration of death energy at the tip of my sword, then thrust quickly while adding attraction force to tear a hole into the void. Pang. A hole opens in the void. This is no ordinary hole. Unfolded alongside the spell of ground shrinking, the hole serves as a special method for travel, capable of traversing thousands of light years in a single step. Payet. In a single leap, I cross thousands of light years and glance back. Kagagugu. I can feel it. Far off in the distance, the quasi-immortal is once again pursuing me. In mere moments, they will reach this place. It's fine now, I'm almost there. Without releasing the form of Ghostface killing Heaven's furnace, I prepare for the final ground shrinking technique. Kagugu. Far away, dozens of light years beyond, I begin to sense the presence of the peng bird. Unlike me, who used a special technique to leap across thousands of light years, it's covering the distance by simply flying with ease. But I only smirk as I swiftly take my starting form again and thrust once more towards the void. Dusk scattering. Payet. The void tears open, and finally I reach the destination I've been aiming for. Puek. Within a massive nebula. There I sense a familiar presence. Woo-woo. Quadrillions of ghosts are wailing. At the center of this sea of ghosts, a colossal being is rising. The ghost guiding Holy Mother. At this moment it is Kang Minhee, at the star-shattering stage. I've arrived. I can feel the peng bird once again chasing from afar. On top of that, the attraction force of Blood Yin's fate tightens even more fiercely around me. But it's over. Bu-wuang. Reciting the flawless mantra, I charge directly at Kang Minhee. She stares at me with irrational eyes. My form, specialized for the ghost path method, seems to make her perceive me as one of the ghost kings under her rule, as she doesn't bother restraining me. I burrow into the chest of her massive being. Puek. Within the deep darkness. I walk straight into the darkness. At the same time, due to the authority of the flawless mantra, my mind seems to split apart and my perception of time begins to stretch. Adding the realm of void shattering to my efforts, I accelerate my consciousness with the flawless mantra, continuing to walk deeper and deeper into her inner depths. There is enough time. Therefore, here and now, I will desecrate fate, advance to the sacred vessel stage of the Earth tribe to attain the three great ultimates. And I will save Kang Minhee. Payet. I reach out my hand into a place of darkness deep within her and seize what I came for. Clench. The true heavenly lotus fruit. The very object I had placed within her bosom when I sent Kang Minhee to the astral realm. And the food of true immortals that's imbued with the authority of Blood Yin. The method to desecrate fate is simple. The teaching of the great mountain supreme deity surfaces in my mind. If there's a fate where the universe will be destroyed, the way to twist that fate is to raise a slave called the universe, and then kill that universe. If you do that, fate will be fulfilled, no matter how forced it may be, and you'll be able to escape the absoluteness of fate by insisting to the world that you didn't resist fate. Wu-wung. That is the way to mock and desecrate fate. At last we meet again, Blood Yin. Wu-wung. The split soul of Blood Yin quivers. It seems as though it wants to rip me apart right now, but it cannot exert its power within Kang Minhee. Perhaps this is because the forces of the underworld are planning something involving Kang Minhee. With this, the reunion with Blood Yin is fulfilled. All that remains is to face death. And I continue to walk towards the deep depth of Kang Minhee, the hole inside her that connects to death. Together with Blood Yin, I will go to seal that hole. It's a memory from long ago. Minhee SSI, think about it carefully, who even comes up with the idea of selling soap imprinted with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this isn't even our original project. Let's just stick to what we were already doing, okay? I'm saying let's do both. We have enough leeway right now, don't we? Don't you know the president likes this kind of thing, Yunhyan SSI? Stop arguing and just get this done. TL, SSI basically means Mr. or Ms. No, why would the president like something like this? He only mentioned watching a movie where the Universal Declaration of Human Rights appeared last time. Let's just stick to the manual and prepare for delivery as originally planned. Why are you interfering with every single thing? You know I'm getting promoted to team leader next month, right? Let's not make this exhausting for each other and just get things done quickly. You're well past the early days of employment, aren't you? Yeah. And you still don't get how much the president loves declarations like this. Well, it's not like your tactlessness is a new thing, Yunhyan SSI. It'd be good for you to study the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by tomorrow. Anyway, I have a meeting now, so I'll take my leave. The project Kang Min-hee herself had pushed forward. Human Rights Declaration so. It didn't seem like such a bad idea. But unexpected difficulties arose. Hey, Kang Min-hee, where's Kang Min-hee? Deputy Kang Min-hee, did you include the declaration? Oh Hyun-seok had stormed into the office, shouting furiously. Our client Yang Zhengson just canceled the entire contract and left. Did you not know that Yang Zhengson's family got ruined once in the past because of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? After that, the memories are hazy. The president, who was known for collecting declarations and famous quotes, had summoned Kang Min-hee with a stern expression and reprimanded her. For a while, the company atmosphere became incredibly bad. Thankfully, she wasn't fired, but since such a major contract had fallen through, rumors spread that her salary would be docked, and it would negatively affect her performance reviews for some time. Because of that, Kang Min-hee was not in her right mind for several days. She was constantly summoned, swore at, and reprimanded for days on end. She became so gloomy that she went drinking. In the middle of her drinking, Seo Yoon-hyun had intervened. While drinking together with Seo Yoon-hyun, at some point, her consciousness slipped away. Kang Min-hee, reminiscing about that time in her memory, laughs. When she opened her eyes, she was on the bed in Seo Yoon-hyun's house. Within a black canopy, a woman is surrounded by dozens of ghost kings at the integration level. She's sitting on a black throne, dozing off. For some reason, it seems as though she is dreaming a happy dream. Just then, the ghost kings who are guarding her suddenly begin to tremble violently in terror in unison. Puek, someone has entered the black canopy. A grotesque being with only eye-shaped patterns on its face and 999 ghost faces, Chinese letter, adorning its entire body. The integration stage ghost kings tremble in fear and collapse to their knees on the spot. Slowly, the monster with 999 ghost faces approaches the woman on the throne. Kang Min-hee. Clang. On either side of her, two ghost kings at the star-shattering stage, trembling in fear, raise their scythes in a cross to block the ghost mask monster with 999 ghost faces. However, the monster of ghost faces pays them no mind and passes right through the scythes of the ghost kings, grabbing Kang Min-hee by the arm. Kang Min-hee. Wu-wung. Behind that being's head, a wheel floats up. I will save you now. The being stares straight into the black hole that lies beyond Kang Min-hee's heart essence. And then, the entities beyond that hole begin to react to its gaze. Ki-yeving. The ghost mask monster. Seo Yoon-hyun's wheel begins to spin violently. I declare be rewritten. The connection between Seo Yoon-hyun and Kang Min-hee seemed to flash past them. Break apart the voices that call to her. Quagwing. At that very moment, terrifying ghostly energy begins to gush out from the hole inside her heart essence. First seat of the Underworld 10 Kings. Current Netherworld Chief Judge. Yama True Lord Chinese letter. Yama Chinese letter, following the command of the oldest one, begins to reveal their presence. Kura-rung. The sky seems to roar. From the hole within Kang Min-hee's heart essence, a terrifying rumble echoes forth. At that moment, I catch a glimpse of something beyond. Flicker. It is fire, a crimson flame blazing fiercely. And at the center of that flame burns a towering crimson flame giant. The flame god, Chinese letter, clad in the tribunal robes, glares directly at me. Do you dare stand in the way of the workings of the Imperial Venerable? Dujujujudo. For some reason, despite recognizing the existence of that being, my soul does not become corrupted. No substantial wisdom flows into me. The little wisdom I do receive is limited to the title and name of that being. Beyond that, no further knowledge invades to corrupt or erode me. It feels as if that being is intentionally showing me mercy. To close the door of that child is to obstruct not only this Lord but the workings of the Imperial Venerable. I will consider it an act of defiance. Step back. Chijijijik. My eyes begin to feel increasingly dry. Even with this act of consideration, I feel that if I continue to gaze directly at them, my eyes will be scorched. Before me is the tribunal chief of flames, the foremost among the underworld 10 kings. The current chief judge, Yama True Lord Yama, speaks, and in that instant a future flashes before my eyes. It is a vision of myself being dragged into the depths of the deep underworld and endlessly tortured under Yama's authority. This is no mere illusion. The celestial energy shifts, fixing my future into that outcome. If I reject Yama True Lord's words here and continue trying to close the gate to save Kang Minhee, that future will inevitably become my fate. However, the searing pain of my body burning away is not particularly frightening. What I fear more is the pain of failing to save Kang Minhee now and later, living with the self-reproach that will follow. It is the torment I would inflict upon myself. Can I do it? No. Doubt is unnecessary. I must do it. I will. Kiyeving. Behind my head, a wheel rises like a halo. Yama True Lord, as if enraged, erupts into a furious blaze that engulfs their entire body. Closing my eyes momentarily, I recall the scene I witnessed just moments ago. The white wheel I had seen from the oldest one. I bring to mind that wheel. How that wheel reversed. How that wheel operated. What sort of attraction force operated within it, and what authority surged through it. Weaving. The wheel begins to reverse. Yama True Lord invokes their authority. Before I know it, the surroundings have shifted entirely. It seems that Yama True Lord momentarily distorted reality with their authority, creating a new dimension. From the distant sky, something massive resembling a jade seal, imperial seal, begins to fall. Quang. I'm instantly crushed to death beneath the jade seal. Kiyang. However, even though I die, the wheel continues to reverse. Payet. With that, I raise myself up and glance to the side. There is a blazing stamp of fire, and beneath it lies what appears to be the remnants of me. But I am not dead. Audacious thing, you dare face this judge while performing the advancement ritual for Earth. Quadjujujuduk. The next moment, a flaming hand thrusts into my mouth. The fiery hand grips my tongue from within and pulls it out entirely. Starting with my tongue, the nebula within my body, my inner core, my outer core, my attraction force, and even the explosions, all of it is ripped out, leaving me dead on the spot. TL core as in planetary core. The wheel reverses. I find myself standing once more, staring at the figure of my own corpse lying beside me, lifeless, with everything within me ripped out. Immediately after, I am sliced to death by a saw. The wheel reverses. I am frozen within ice, my soul itself freezing solid, and I die. The wheel reverses. I am the wheel. How many times have I died, and died and died and died over again? Quadjijijik. I find myself in a blade mountain hell, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. My entire body impaled, fully aware of my impending death. TL, Blade Mountain Hell, is the 7th layer of the 18 levels of hell in Chinese myth. Yet I remain indifferent to the pain, steadying myself in place. Slowly I kneel. Though my entire body is pierced through, it is bearable. Slowly in that state, I bow towards the Yama True Lord. I thank the great Yama True Lord for their mercy. I know they are killing me with consideration. If they truly used the full authority of their original body, crushing me completely along with the wheel and taxidermizing me would be a trivial feat. Yet they spare the wheel, granting me permission to resurrect and repeat the meaningless deaths. I glance behind me. Already, hundreds of my corpses lie in view. I suspected it from the start. According to the words of Blood Yin, I must have stolen something that is called the immortal art of the wheel. However, the Yama True Lord, rather than unleashing fury against me, shows consideration, merely allowing me to know their name without inflicting unbearable torment. Therefore, the countless deaths they inflict on me here and now are nothing more than a kind of trial. Wu-Wung. I am forcibly lifted to my feet by an overwhelming force. Yama True Lord, their towering body blazing with flames, briefly looks down at me. Do not kneel. One who bears the wheel does not kneel recklessly. The wheel. The immortal art that combines the flawless mantra and the phenomena-extinguishing mantra. The recent trial, it seems, was entirely their way of teaching me how to properly wield this wheel. Following the simple resets, I grasped the abilities of this wheel a little more clearly. The ability of the wheel is to rearrange causality, Chinese letter / cause and effect. To be precise, it is more accurate to say it organizes causality. At present, I do not die easily. My main body itself has become a kind of immortal art, and I have transcended life halfway, becoming a being too immense to be considered merely a living creature. Such a being as I cannot simply die from trivialities like having a stamp pressed onto my body, being frozen, having my tongue and entrails torn out, or being burned alive. What Yama True Lord did is overlay death upon me through the form of death. By reversing the wheel, I return myself to the state before the overlaid death, restoring it as it was. It is the act of restoring to my original state before any history or prophecy overlaid on me by true immortal and above entities through organizing casualty. In other words, this is a means suitable for resisting the power of true immortals, similar to the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique. Impressive. Yama True Lord lets out a small exclamation of admiration as they watch me firmly maintain the wheel. Do you truly intend to save that child who has received the support of the underworld? Do you truly seek to save the child who will become the vessel for the Imperial Venerable's descent? Yes, even if your path becomes a thorny road fraught with hardship. Compared to the thorny road before me, I speak as I stare resolutely at Yama True Lord. The sword mountain within me is far more agonizing. Payet. At that moment, the world became clear in an instant. The inner depths of the dimension created by the Yama True Lord, filled with only darkness and flames, is rewritten. It transforms into a glass sword mountain. The flawless and clear glass sword mountain is piercing me. At the same time, the Yama True Lord's body is pierced all over by my glass swords within this sword mountain. It is clear, flawlessly clear, and it hurts. I have witnessed the ultimate extreme of pain. The extreme of pain surpasses even the karmic fire of the former chief judge. That pain is none other than oneself. The Wuji religious order evaporated, and my karmic fire was extinguished. Though I learned of this only later, the condition for extinguishing the karmic fire is for one's own pain and remorse to surpass the pain of the karmic fire itself. When that happens, the fire naturally goes out. From that, I came to understand one fact. No matter how painful and terrifying external pain may be, it cannot compare to what lies within oneself. Enduring 100 lashings is not as effective as repenting to oneself even once. Therefore, I do not want to do anything that I will regret. I do not wish to suffer. Having reached the pinnacle of pain, I dislike pain even more. And because I have realized that the greatest pain is my own regret, I seek to live a life free of regret. If I were to die tonight, I would commit nothing in the morning that I would regret. Please, return her to me. Yama True Lord gazes at me for a moment, then looks around at the colorless sword mountain. Good. Even though they are pierced through by the sword mountain, they show no sign of pain and instead seem to be in a good mood. I permit it. At those words, I feel a tingling sensation coursing through my entire body. The chief judge has granted permission to save Kang Minhee. However, as for what is binding that child, judge it for yourself. Having finished speaking, Chief Judge Yama True Lord raises one hand. O karmic mirror, Chinese letter, close your eyes. Return the distinguished one to his place. Simultaneously, the small dimension transformed by my will begins to tremble and distort. Soon after, I find myself facing the Yama True Lord sitting in a lotus position, along with a massive, mirror-like object behind them reflecting the both of us. Wowung. In an instant, I return to my main body with them. This place is just before. It is the very moment when I was holding Kang Minhee's arm and peering into the hole within her heart essence. I see, Was that small dimension something created by Yama True Lord's immortal treasure? It seems to be something that reflects a person's essence, history, or similar concepts. Tingle, tingle. I feel a tingling sensation as something flows into my mind. It is wisdom bestowed by the Yama True Lord. The method to fill the hole in Kang Minhee's heart essence. Wowung. As I enter the depths of her heart essence, I raise both hands and begin chanting the flawless mantra. Wowung. Between my hands, a black circle formed by attraction force rises. Weiyang. I feel the circle rotating. Along with it, the black hole in front of me begins to resonate. SSSSSSS. Using the wisdom granted by the Yama True Lord, I reduce the size of the flawless mantra. Although it is wisdom received from them, it feels like something I might have eventually discovered through further study of the flawless mantra. As the circle of the flawless mantra shrinks, the black hole simultaneously begins to decrease in size. TSDSDSDSDSDS. Then, at a certain moment, Payet, the circle condenses to a single point and vanishes, and the black hole likewise becomes a tiny dot before scattering away entirely. It's done. At last, I'm able to save Kang Minhee. Payet. I roam through Kang Minhee's heart essence, searching for her main consciousness. How much time has passed? Eventually, I find her main consciousness lying dormant at the center of a mass of dark clouds. Payet. Twin flowers reaching the heavens. White orchid flower. The energy of blessings dispels the surrounding darkness. I approach her main consciousness, grab her by the shoulders and shake her. Wake up, Kang Minhee. At this, Kang Minhee half opens her eyes. A somewhat dazed gaze. She is dreaming. I use the sea of righteousness and mountain of grace to enter her dream. This is my house. The home I miss dearly. The splendid house where I could always enjoy a comfortable life, equipped with magical artifacts like the one called a computer, as well as light fixtures, an air conditioner, and a boiler. And this is currently a scene where I am sitting on the bed, saying something to Kang Minhee, whose face is slightly flushed. This was that day. It was the day Kang Minhee drank too much and passed out, and I had no choice but to bring her to my house and let her rest in my room for a while. Kang Minhee and I are talking about something. She says, "Can't you even take what's given to you?" while letting out a deep sigh, and I seem to be laughing, saying, "Just buy me a meal." After some time, we begin to bicker about something. Then, leaning close to her ear, I whisper something. Hearing my words, Kang Minhee briefly shows a blank expression. She stays still for a long moment before quietly leaning her head on my shoulder. This was the day we began our brief romance again. Stop watching. Pazazazazak. The dream begins to blur, and Kang Minhee appears beside me. What are you doing here? Get out. Holding a smoking pipe in one hand and dressed in a black robe, she looks at me with cold eyes. I was just reminiscing about old dreams in my sleep, but here you are spying on me like a pervert. As always, you're the worst. Get lost. It was just a memory, and I have no intention of getting together with you again. I know. If you know. Without saying anything else, I take Kang Minhee's hand. Let's go. For now, let's leave and then we'll talk. I'll let go. As I hold her hand, Kang Minhee seems flustered and tries to pull her hand away. But I don't let go. Holding her hand, I move forward. Deeper into her heart essence. There, countless ominous and foreboding energies are lurking. Let go, let me go, hurry, do you want to die? Kang Minhee starts to get angry. However, I somehow sense a tremble in her voice. I reply, I won't die. Don't talk nonsense. What would you know? What would you know? Atrio. I can see dark clouds around us. Within Kang Minhee's heart essence. No, this place isn't exactly her heart essence. It's filled with resentful spirits nested within her soul. Stop pretending to be strong, Seo Yoon Hyan. Let go of me already. Before I know it, her voice has become tearful. She is worried about me. I begin reading her past with the vision of the Earth Tribe. Since I already roughly heard about what happened to her in Black Ghost Valley, it isn't difficult to read. I come to understand what has happened in that time. Though I can't properly read anything about the whole of the underworld, I can read about the ghosts. I see, so this is what the chief judge meant. However, as for what is binding that child, judge it for yourself. Kang Minhee acts strong on the outside, but in truth, she is fragile inside. Despite that, she carries an enormous sense of responsibility. The ghosts. Kang Min-hee, having entered Black Ghost Valley, learned the serene soul true secrets to console the souls of ghosts. The reason was simple. She pitied the ghostly souls, who, even in death, were being enslaved within Black Ghost Valley. She began to embrace the ghosts, one by one. She started to hold them, comfort them, and console them. And gradually, ghosts began to gather around her. It wasn't due to some innate constitution, like the ghostly yin transformation, immortal root. It was her attitude, her genuine efforts to understand the emotions of the ghosts, to console them, and to embrace them. That attitude was what drew the ghosts to her. During the 7 Stars ritual, a group of ghosts who obeyed her command burst forth and punched a hole through the thick black clouds. Even during her advancement to the chi building stage, she didn't require chi building pills. The ghosts willingly offered their ghostly energy to help her advance. Unlike Jian Myung-hoon, who required devouring heavenly tribulations to grow, her growth wasn't restricted before reaching the nascent soul stage. Without any hindrance, from the day she learned the serene soul true secrets, she steadily grew with the help of the ghosts, advancing all the way to the 4-axis stage. However, there was a side effect. Kang Min-hee began to sense her mind being gradually eroded by the ghosts. The pain of the ghosts, their lingering resentment, the terror of not wanting to die, the fear of death. These horrifying emotions gradually consumed Kang Min-hee's mind. To endure this, Kang Min-hee tried recalling the happy days of her life. Strangely, the first memory that came to her was the scene of watching the sunset through clouded skies with her ex-boyfriend at an observation deck. Although she wasn't pleased with that memory, to retain her sanity, she continued her cultivation while recalling it. Then one day, she felt that something beyond herself was calling to her. That something said it would help her, that embracing the ghost's resentment alone must be agonizing, and if she sought its aid, it would share the burden with her. Kang Min-hee refused. However, at some point the call grew stronger. The call began teaching her a formula. At first she ignored the formula, but as time passed the call intensified. Then one day, Kang Min-hee met Seo Yoon-hyun again. The day she reunited with Seo Yoon-hyun, who had become a grand cultivator. On that day she was thrown somewhere by the power of Oh Haiseo, and before she knew it, she found herself on the brink of falling into the maw of a terrifying existence. To overcome this crisis, there was only one solution. Kang Min-hee had to fully accept the power of the ghosts. Until then, she hadn't fully embraced their resentment and pain. She had only cradled them, drawing a small amount of ghostly energy for use. If she properly integrated with the ghosts, she could immediately wield tremendous authority. To resolve the situation, Kang Min-hee accepted the ghosts. And within the ghosts' lingering resentment and pain, she finally responded to the call. Beyond that call, something seized Kang Min-hee's mind, and from that moment onward, her memories became unclear. The call seized her soul, the flow of a being called Seo Atrial invaded her, and the existence beyond the call descended through her body. After that, she lost consciousness. From then on, it was a time of endless torment. She was losing herself amidst the whispers and lingering resentment of the ghosts. And at some point, Kang Min-hee opened her eyes again. The moment she opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was Seo Yoon-hyun, the man with whom she had once created moments of happiness. It seemed as though he was fighting against her. Scenes flickered and distorted. Kang Min-hee couldn't understand why she was fighting Seo Yoon-hyun. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want to hurt him. Rather than tearing him apart with her hands, she only wanted to hold his hand. She didn't want to fight with him anymore. At this rate, it felt as if she might end up killing Seo Yoon-hyun with her own hands. So even in the midst of her muddled memories, Kang Min-hee begged. She begged the existence of the call. Please, I will give you anything. Just stop me from killing Seo Yoon-hyun with these hands. A response comes from the call. It was a language incomprehensible to mortal beings. Yet Kang Min-hee could understand it, and she accepted the voice of the call. She didn't know the details, but she understood. Beyond the call, she had to entrust herself to the endless darkness, falling to a place where she could never see Seo Yoon-hyun again, in order not to kill him with her own hands. To avoid destroying what was most precious to her with her own hands, she had to give up what was most precious. Kang Min-hee, faced with this miserable truth, at the cruel fate of this world, and at the pain of the countless lingering spirits who had died in this world, felt an overwhelming sorrow. Life is. She had said something. She cannot remember what it was. She only vaguely recalls expressing the emotion of sorrow. After speaking those words, Kang Min-hee's path was decided under the guidance of the call, and though following that path would mean she could never see Seo Yoon-hyun again, she understood it would ensure that she would never kill him. That was Kang Min-hee's past. It was the ghosts, the various things related to me and the call. In other words, the whole of the underworld contributed to her madness. But now that the whole is sealed with the flawless mantra, the reason she still cannot regain her senses is because of the ghosts. It is because she absorbed the ghost's powerful lingering resentment and pain into herself, becoming corrupted as a result. Let go, let go. Kang Min-hee's voice trembles. She is telling me to leave her and go. She seems afraid that I too might be eroded by the ghosts. For the grudges of the ghosts are by no means shallow. And it is because Kang Min-hee is currently clutching the lingering resentment of the ghosts with her own hands that she has been unable to escape from the madness of the ghost guiding Holy Mother. She must have thought she had to embrace them. She's always like that. Even though she appears cold and curt on the outside, the truth is that she's always been considerate of me at heart. It was the same during the declaration of human rights soap incident. If she hadn't taken the lead back then, perhaps instead of the declaration of human rights soap, we might have ended up creating a communist manifesto soap or some other absurd soap. After all, there was precedent for actually pushing forward the communist manifesto soap under the president's orders. Anyways, the important thing is not that. She is soft-hearted. She wants to embrace those who are pitiful. Even though she seems cold, her true nature is kind. That's probably why she cannot ignore the resentment of these ghosts. If that's the case, then what I need to do is squeeze. I grip Kang Min-hee's hand even tighter and begin moving forward. Kang Min-hee tries to shake off my hand, but I refuse to let go and continue moving ahead. Terrifying vengeful spirits appear before us. They are the aggregation of the resentments that Kang Min-hee is embracing, as well as what has been binding her. It's unfair, so unfair. We are indignant, so indignant. My baby, my baby, my baby. I want to live, I don't want to die. Where is this place? Mommy, mommy. Please save me, please save me. I don't want to become a pill. The heaven-collapsing esteemed one will punish you. Just like what was done to us, the small green race, you will be boiled into soup and consumed. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts so much. Iden 20, Iden 20, Iden 20, Iden 20, Iden 20. Towards that accumulation of pain and suffering, I open my mouth. I cannot understand you all. How terrified must they have been? How horrifying, how agonizing must it have been? I do not dare judge by my own standards. No matter how much suffering I've endured in my life, if all my memories were erased right now, my strength taken away, and I was killed wretchedly, I too would probably harbor that kind of pain. I cannot recklessly claim to understand them. But I know a little about pain. Step. I take another step forward, approaching the collective mass of resentment. Therefore, I can empathize with you. Come, Payet. The ghosts enter into my embrace. I use the vision of the Earth tribe to read their pasts, and the vision of the Heart tribe to perceive the intent and heart essence they experienced in their pasts, embodying their pain and fear within myself. What is it that ghosts desire most? Because I myself am a great ghost, merely living because I cannot die, I know. To have their stories heard. It is to have their circumstances acknowledged by someone. I quietly listen to their suffering and empathize with them, even without using any formulas or spells. The ghosts I empathize with turn pure white and fly off into the void. Come again, keep coming, come more. I call for the ghosts binding Kang Min-hee. At least tens of trillions. At most, tens of quadrillions of ghosts. Yet I am not afraid. I take another step forward. One step, then another. In this way, I empathize with the suffering of the ghosts, embodying and acknowledging it within myself, all the while moving forward slowly. Kang Min-hee, being led by Seo Yoon-hyun's hand, gazes at him. How can you do that? Just from accepting the resentment of a single ghost, It felt like she'd lose her mind from the pain. How can a human being possibly understand death? And one truly comprehend the loss of their entire life being taken away by death? For that reason, it's impossible for Kang Min-hee to understand the ghosts who have experienced death. How can you acknowledge them and empathize with them? She cannot understand Seo Yun-hyan. Suddenly, something appears before her eyes. It is a series of scenes. It was the day she and Seo Yun-hyan first met. The days when they dated, spent time together, and eventually parted ways. The awkward days that followed. Seo Yun-hyan's memories. The ones involving her among Seo Yun-hyan's memories are naturally surfacing. Seo Yun-hyan is splitting apart. To accept even more of the vengeful spirits before him and to empathize with them, he is breaking apart. At least 10,000 fragments. Fragmented into 10,000 pieces, he is holding Kang Min-hee's hand and moving forward. From the cracks in Seo Yun-hyan's fractured self, his memories are seeping into her. Within his memories, Kang Min-hee realizes for the first time that she is considered strong. And so she gives a bitter smile. Do you know Seo Yun-hyan? She looks at Seo Yun-hyan's back. It's a back as big as a great mountain. The one who's truly strong is you. Seo Yun-hyan, on her behalf, is empathizing with and comforting the vengeful spirits she harbored. But suddenly, a thought comes to her. If you're the one stepping forward to embrace everyone's sorrow, who will embrace yours? Then, from the state of merely being pulled along by Seo Yun-hyan's hand, she takes steps on her own. Step. 1 step. Forgotten memories return. 2 steps. They are memories from back then. The moment she lost Seo Yun-hyan, and in her resolve to save him when she felt sorrow. 3 steps. She remembers that within her own memories, she had sensed her essence. Within that essence, she saw something. It was something that resembled the Buddha statues she used to occasionally see near a temple when she was a child. Draped in a blue cassia, seated on a blue lotus, and forming the hand seal known as the Abhaya Mudra, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, a Buddhist tingwa appeared before her. 4 steps. Kang Min-hee reached out toward the tingwa and cried. She doesn't know why she was crying. But one thing she is certain of is, she understood the meaning of sorrow. 5 steps. Wowung. Light enters Kang Min-hee's eyes. When I think about it, you've led me in so much. Her first love, her first relationship, her first heartbreak. All of it Seo Yun-hyan led her through. Even now, he is leading her. I can't lead you. She's not strong enough to move forward without hesitation. Seo Yun-hyan may think Kang Min-hee is fragile, yet has strong responsibility. But Kang Min-hee believes Seo Yun-hyan is much stronger than herself. 6 steps. Kang Min-hee stands almost side by side with Seo Yun-hyan. She looks directly at the ghosts before her. But I can protect you. The next moment, Kang Min-hee finally steps forward, moving just slightly ahead of Seo Yun-hyan. 7 steps. I will protect you, even if comforting you is left to that girl. Just as you have led me, I will, with all my strength, protect you and everyone else. She cannot comfort Seo Yun-hyan. She has known this ever since that day. She touched the tingwa of the Bodhisattva in the blue cassia. She has already become someone who consoles others. Someone who provides solace for sorrow. Sorrow is about what is left behind. It is the longing for what has been left behind, the yearning and regret that arise in one's heart. Because what is left behind is usually something that can never be reached again. The ghosts left behind life. And even though Kang Min-hee broke up with Seo Yun-hyan, she always left a place for him in her heart. But Seo Yun-hyan will never return to that place. To console sorrow means to understand what has been left behind and to let it go. I see. Kang Min-hee finally understands what the call did to her. The call turned Kang Min-hee into a nether crossing ship. The nether crossing ship stores ghosts, and during the end, escapes the sun and moon heavenly domain to allow the ghosts to peacefully cross over to the underworld. The role to send off ghosts so that they can find solace in the underworld. That is the hidden role of Black Ghost Valley and the true purpose of the nether crossing ship. Kang Min-hee looks at Seo Yun-hyan. If I want to become more free, I'll have to let you go too, won't I? She now understands her own sorrow. The sorrow of leaving a place for Seo Yun-hyan, where Seo Yun-hyan has left. That is her sorrow. To console that sorrow, she will have to let Seo Yunhyan go completely from her heart. But I don't think I can let you go just yet. Therefore, Kang Min-hee decides to accept her sorrow for a little longer. However, this sorrow is different from the sorrow she has experienced so far. She completely accepts her sorrow. Letting it go from her heart entirely is a foregone conclusion. And letting go means building a wall between people. Kang Min-hee wants to protect Seo Yunhyan through that wall. Puek. At that moment, her hair completely transforms into blue. From Kang Min-hee at the center, a blue light spreads outward, purifying the darkness. The lingering resentment of the ghosts is washed away all at once. Pazazek. At the same time, the charcoal mask on Seo Yunhyan shatters into pieces, fully revealing his face. Seo Yunhyan smiles faintly at Kang Min-hee. See, I told you I wouldn't die. Pazazasa. Simultaneously, Seo Yunhyan's form, which had been shattered into 10,000 pieces, restores itself completely. Kagagugugu. Along with that, the three great ultimates begins to rise behind Seo Yunhyan. He empathized and read the histories of the ghosts within Kang Min-hee, acknowledging them. Through the advancement ritual of reading countless histories, Seo Yunhyan fulfilled the final condition for the advancement ritual of the Earth Tribe Sacred Vessel stage. Seo Yunhyan releases Kang Min-hee, who has escaped from the darkness, and steps forward. He walks towards the entering Nirvana true person, flying in from the distance. Kang Min-hee slightly reaches out her hand towards that Seo Yunhyan and recalls the past. After the day, Seo Yunhyan brought Kang Min-hee home and suggested they try dating again for a while. The two dated again for about 3 days. Then, on the final day, they broke up. On the outdoor terrace smoking area of the company. There, Kang Min-hee smoked a cigarette while gazing at the sunset. Seo Yunhyan silently came to her side and stood there for a moment. After a brief silence, Kang Min-hee once again suggested breaking up with Seo Yunhyan. That's enough, let's break up again, I've been consoled enough. Will you be okay? Yeah, more than me. It was because there was someone who could comfort Seo Yunhyan better than herself. Never mind, even if I explain you won't understand. Of course, Seo Yunhyan, who treats tact as if it's something to gulp down when hungry, didn't notice, but Kang Min-hee already realized. Kim Yeon would someday end up with Seo Yunhyan. And she would comfort and heal Seo Yunhyan far better than she could. Let me have one too, Kang Min-hee. You said you quit. I really feel like having one. It's the last one. Didn't you just buy a pack? Shut up, I'm giving you one only because it's today. Give me a light too. She lit a flame. However, for some reason, the lighter didn't ignite. It hadn't been long since she bought it, but it seemed to be broken. Kang Min-hee removed the cigarette from her mouth and handed it to Seo Yunhyan. Seo Yunhyan brought the tip of the cigarette to the flame in Kang Min-hee's cigarette. Chi-i. Passing the flame she had been holding in her mouth, Kang Min-hee delivers her final words of goodbye. Farewell, ex-boyfriend. Seo Yunhyan likewise receives the flame for the last time and responds. Stay well, ex-girlfriend. Farewell. Kang Min-hee watches Seo Yunhyan, who is no longer within her reach, and gently clenches her fist. Seo Yunhyan. Seo Yunhyan has left Kang Min-hee. She knows he will not return. She lets him go. And now she decides to watch over him from behind. From behind, or perhaps from ahead. She will not approach him again, but will simply watch over him. She will become Seo Yunhyan's wall. She will become a wall and silently protect him. Because that is her way of letting Seo Yunhyan go. That day, Kang Min-hee fully accepts the meaning of what she had realized before, that life is sorrow. Chapter 502, Half Immortal Real. The three great ultimates flow behind me. I feel a resonance forming between the three great ultimates and the wheel. Something is drawing the two toward each other. Just in case, I try overlapping the wheel and the three great ultimates. It's at that moment. Pezasa. The wheel shatters, unable to withstand the amplification rate of the sacred vessel, stage 3 great ultimates. Though it isn't easily broken by external pressure, it seems to be somewhat vulnerable to the internal pressure caused by the explosive forces within me. These two seem capable of overlapping, but to make that possible, it seems I need to further perfect the wheel and deepen my understanding of the immortal art. It feels like there might be something incredible awaiting, but for now, it seems to be a card I can't play. Of course, it isn't a major issue. Bajajuduk, because I am already an erupting volcano myself. A quasi-immortal at the entering nirvana stage traverses thousands of light years and flies toward me. Then they open their mouth wide and hurl another antimatter bomb at me. Shwara. I don't know the exact principle behind it, but it seems to be a secret art that transforms water attribute spells into antimatter at a subatomic level. Slowly, I grip the colorless glass sword in my hand. Before I had the three great ultimates, the existence before my eyes seemed difficult to handle. But now it's different. I can handle this much. As the antimatter makes contact with the matter of the universe, it transforms the surroundings into chi, eroding the space around it with light. It's as if the primordial scene of creation is unfolding. The entire world is engulfed in light. I place the tip of my sword against the void and slice upward. Record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Record of gazing cultivation and exceeding martial arts. Gazing cultivation and exceeding martial arts scripture. Secrets of gazing cultivation and exceeding martial arts. Record of surpassing cultivation and martial arts. Record of surpassing path and martial art. Entering heavens beyond the path martial arts. From that point on, the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts of Kim Young-hoon, and I that completely melted into the realm of entering heavens beyond the path. R. This peerless divine technique has only now, today, obtained a name beyond entering heavens beyond the path martial arts. In its earliest stage, record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts merely severed the opponent's intent Chinese letter and consciousness Chinese letter, erasing their perception of existence. Over 400,000 years, that record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts has, in my hands, evolved and evolved, and evolved again. Now it can not only hide myself but also conceal others, maintaining that state for up to 500 years. Thus, it is time to give it a new name. Hidden heavens beyond the path. Xiugog. Beyond the Tao, I shall conceal myself from the heavens. The tip of my sword scorches through the void. The next moment, Pud. The antimatter explosion before me vanishes like an illusion in an instant between the quasi-immortal and me. What kind of sorcery is this? The quasi-immortal is momentarily taken aback. Jiang. A terrifying shockwave is transmitted directly to the soul. I quickly use Mountain Echo's Valley responds to unleash a sword cry that neutralizes the shockwave, protecting both myself and Kang Min-hee behind me. However, the quasi-immortal, seemingly unable to adapt to the shockwave transmitted in the plane of soul, lets out a scream and howls madly. Through hidden heavens beyond the path, I elevated the recent explosion entirely to the plane of soul. The explosion occurred in the plane of soul, transformed from a material detonation into a shockwave that impacts the mind. Not just severing consciousness and hiding within perception, but cutting apart the very phenomenon of an opponent's attack, sending it to the plane of soul and erasing it from sight. No, it doesn't just stop at erasing. It transfers the phenomena itself into a battlefield advantageous to me. That is the vision of the repeatedly transcended record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. This is hidden heavens beyond the path. If it were Kim Young-hoon, he probably could have created hidden heavens beyond the path in about 6,000 years. He wouldn't have taken 400,000 years like me. It's when I'm gauging the power of hidden heavens beyond the path. The quasi-immortal glares at me and mutters. The three great ultimates behind your back. They are undoubtable proof that you have learned heaven, earth, and heart. I give a bitter smile. Just moments ago, this quasi-immortal, who had been casually firing antimatter bombs in an attempt to hunt me down, now has an entirely different gaze. It seems they finally regained some composure. The quasi-immortal glares at me and mutters. I will apologize, I was too rash. At those words, I let a slight look of joy to show on my face. If that's the case, then perhaps we can reconcile. But reconciliation is impossible. An enmity has already been born. How could I ascend to true immortality peacefully while having an unresolved enmity with an entity like you? I apologize for underestimating you. This immortal will crush you with my full strength. Kagagugu. Up until just now, The quasi-immortal, who resembled nothing more than a large, foolish pigeon, begins to transform. The peng form from earlier was merely a convenient mode for movement and is this, their true combat technique form. Chwarak. The quasi-immortal's body transforms. Their avian form morphs into a beastman form. Yet their massive size remains unchanged, with an arm still large enough to cover an entire fixed star. Even though they take on a beastman form, the resemblance to a human is limited to their general frame. The overall appearance is anything but human. The quasi-immortal's face resembles a goblin, composed of black liquid and dark blue ice crystals. Their arms, still wings, now reveal each feather transformed into separate arms of black liquid, with each hand writhing with 11 fingers. Dozens of eye-like patterns, similar to those on my ghost face killing heaven furnace, are engraved all across their body, and their legs are obscured by a curtain formed of a black waterfall, obscuring them from view. The waterfall resembles a kind of skirt, and as it flows downward, it melds into the darkness of the universe, until their lower body appears entirely fused with the astral realm itself. Chia. I declare. The quasi-immortal begins to use its spell. O quickly spinning troubled star, Chinese letter, come to this place. Chit. Space begins to distort. At the same time, a star appears above one of the arms of the quasi-immortal. Weighing. The summoned star begins to rotate. However, the speed of its rotation is unusual. At first, it seems to rotate at a speed similar to that of a regular planet, but it gradually accelerates, spinning over 60 times per second. Yet it does not stop there. The rotational speed increases even further. I declare, let the troubled star summon a storm. Gugugugugu. An interstellar wind sweeps through the cosmic space. This is not an interstellar wind like before, which could be resisted to some degree. This is truly a terrifying cosmic gale that sweeps me away, hurling me towards a distant star system. Chiching. Once more, space warps, and the quasi-immortal leaps through the space to follow me. Holding the frantically spinning star in their hand, they continue speaking. I declare, let the stars of the nations listen. Wulvlung. At the quasi-immortal's words, all the starlight shining upon this place begins to hum in response. I feel the stars of the star veins resonating, and an overwhelming sense of foreboding rises within me. Create a fence from which the foe before me cannot escape. Weave a net with starlight so they lose their way forward. I can feel it. The star veins entwine, sealing a distance of several hundred light years. A barrier is formed, ensuring neither I cannot escape the battlefield between the quasi-immortal and I. I declare, O path of starlight, do not bestow the heaven's attraction force upon my adversary. O vibration of stars, do not grant the earth's resonance to my foe. Clang. The laws within the barrier shift. At the same time, I feel a sensation of darkness overtaking my vision. The heaven tribe's sight and the earth tribe's sight have been sealed. The vision tied to both is blacked out. The constellations no longer allow me to read the future or the past. It seems the quasi-immortal cannot interfere with the heart tribe's vision, but it feels as though my perceptual faculties have been divided. I declare, O troubled star, twist this immortal's bridle and seize the 5 elements. Kugagugaguk. It doesn't end there. The star in their hand appears to spin even faster, causing the nearby 5 elements to transform. Astounding. The 5 elements converge into one, and all attributes are transformed into the water attribute. In a remote corner of the universe, though this twisting of laws is limited to within this barrier, even that is an overwhelming miracle. Nearby fixed stars extinguish, ignoring the laws of physics, and turn into frozen masses of ice. All the planets in the vicinity either become engulfed in water or plunge into an ice age. Now shall we begin? The quasi-immortal looks at me. They seem fully prepared to fight me. I look up at them. Forming a hand seal, I draw forth one of the 2 forms of the crystal glass to treading sea great star that I had yet to reveal. Crystal glass to treading sea great star. Torch of myriad forms and connections. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. My body becomes a torch, and my glass true fire becomes its flame. Round the flame, akin to candlelight, my canvas of myriad forms and connections unfolds. Perhaps in the quasi-immortal's eyes, I appear as a mass of hazy mist. Though the vision of the heaven and earth tribes may have vanished, the authority remains intact. Therefore, the three great ultimates are still present. Hwararuruk. I amplify the glass true fire, again and again. With the three great ultimates behind my back in the hazy mist, I begin flying towards quasi-immortal. The two cosmic entities collide. The entering nirvana quasi-immortal holds the spinning star in their hand and shouts, "O troubled star, hear me. Twist the water of the five elements and reverse it with the power of darkness, Chinese letter. Kagagugu. The star system, once overflowing with water energy, transforms into antimatter and begins to explode. However, quasi-immortal's incantation does not end there. It's as if they anticipate that such an attack would have no effect on the foe before them. Troubled star, heed my command. Whisper the curse with 1,000 mouths. Let this immortal's authority echo and manifest throughout the entire world. An orbit forms around the troubled star. It is an orbit created from attraction force and rotation. The orbit gradually expands, quickly engulfing the surrounding star system, and reaches the edges of the barrier quasi-immortal has erected. Soon, whispers begin emanating from the orbit. Attraction force reversal. Gravitational concentration. Collapse of the five elements. Antimatter waterfall. Summoning supernova explosion. Spatial waterways. Wrath of water. Night of winter. Twilight of frozen earth. World of extreme cold. Within what living creatures might call a moment. Thousands of spells and incantations are activated. Each one is a grand spell capable of annihilating an entire world or civilization. Attraction force reverses. At the same time, to Seo Yunhyan's left, gravity concentrates, creating a terrifying repulsion force. The five elements collapse, shaking Seo Yunhyan's physical body. An antimatter waterfall materializes. A supernova on the verge of explosion is summoned to block Seo Yunhyan's path. A waterway connecting one space to another emerges, allowing the water of a distant supermassive planet's ocean to flow in. The water, heeding its master's command, erupts in fury and clings to Seo Yunhyan. Meanwhile, the black water surrounding the quasi-immortal condenses, forming a knight-like figure that radiates boundless cold. The planet-sized knight wields a spear and charges towards Seo Yunhyan. The moment Seo Yunhyan and the knight collide, a blinding light bursts forth, followed by an explosion. After the explosion, the entire surrounding space is dyed in extreme cold, rendering movement impossible according to laws of physics. However, Seo Yunhyan continues to move. Kagagugugu. This immortal bestows upon thee a minor misfortune. You shall never reach this immortal. The space between the quasi-immortal and Seo Yunhyan layers itself. While the distance appears close at a glance, Seo Yunhyan is actually subjected to an immense distance. Yet Seo Yunhyan advances. I declare to the troubled star, O troubled star, summon this immortal's influence amidst the interstellar wind. Dujujudo. Interstellar wind sweeps through, distorting the space. And amidst the distorted space, two beings at the sacred vessel stage descend. Immortal treasure cutting river fan, Chinese letter, come to this immortal's hand. Immortal treasure, red flood dragon plaque, Chinese letter, respond to this immortal's call. A pitch-black sea that scatters sharp energy. A colossal fan formed from that black sea is grasped in the quasi-immortal's hand. A writhing plaque, crafted from what seems to be the flesh of some creature, and adorned with the image of a red flood dragon, floats above the quasi-immortal's head. However, the immortal treasures resist the will of the quasi-immortal, thrashing as if unwilling to obey. The quasi-immortal roars in fury and suppresses the two immortal treasures with attraction force. Do not resist, I declare this. Let the immortal treasure's intellect be temporarily relinquished. Quarrurung. A sound akin to thunder reverberates, and the two immortal treasures fall silent. Yet controlling the treasures seems to have drained the quasi-immortal considerably, as its arms tremble faintly. The quasi-immortal swings the cutting iver fan. Atriuwu. Interstellar wind begins to rage wildly. But that is not all. Within the storm of interstellar wind, hundreds of slashes at the same level of the spells that bombarded Seo Yunhyan emerge and surge toward him. However, in the center of the hazy mist, where the flames of glass burn brightly, the fire morphs into a sword-like shape, deflecting and repelling all the incoming slashes. Quagwagwang. Each slash that collides with the fire unleashes terrifying interstellar winds that shake the surrounding nebulae. From the red flood dragon plaque comes what sounds like the roar of a red flood dragon, and the black water surrounding Seo Yunhyan turns red, transforming into a red tide that encircles and dissolves him. Then, quang, a glass-colored flame explodes, and a glass candle bursts forth from within the red tide, piercing through the distortion of space and advancing towards the quasi-immortal. Finally, quajiajijik, Seo Yunhyan reaches the hem of the quasi-immortal's skirt. The edge of the waterfall. Shia, Seo Yunhyan wraps around the quasi-immortal and begins moving up. Along his path, the hazy mist from the canvas of myriad forms and connections lingers like a trail, gradually entwining around the quasi-immortal's body. The scene resembles a hazy dragon with a head shaped like a candle, coiling around a giant god. Chwararak. From the quasi-immortal's body, tens of thousands of hands of darkness erupt, attempting to push the dragon away. But the dragon does not release its hold, continuing to coil upwards. Once the dragon fully coils around the quasi-immortal, it becomes difficult for the quasi-immortal to attack with the immortal treasures. Instead of panicking, the quasi-immortal raises the revolving star they summoned further into the sky. I declare this, O river of black water, transform into a river whip and come to this hand. Chwararak. The accumulated water energy in the star system condenses, forming a massive river of black water. The river flows into the quasi-immortal's grasp in an instant, transforming into a black whip. I declare to the troubled star, bestow thy condemnation upon the adversary. Chwak. The giant god swings the black whip towards the revolving star. The star, called the troubled star, trembles violently upon being struck by the whip of black river. Seo Yunhyan's body also shakes, as though struck by the whip. The quasi-immortal begins lashing the troubled star. Quajijijik. The body of the star begins to be torn apart. At the same time, the head of the dragon, the candle, Seo Yunhyan's main body, begins to be gradually torn apart. The curse of a quasi-immortal. Chwak. However, it's when the quasi-immortal continues to lash the star. Chwararak. The star begins to gradually darken, dying black. The dragon's head. From the place resembling a candle flame bursts forth a pitch-black flame. You reverse the curse. Terrifying one, what pain have you endured to overturn the curse of a true person with your weight class alone? Gradually, as Seo Yunhyan's main body, the dragon's head, climbs higher and higher towards the head of the giant god, the quasi-immortal begins to grow visibly impatient. Even antimatter is ineffective. Even the thousands of spells cast simultaneously are ignored as he continues to advance. Attacks using immortal treasures are deflected, and he draws closer. Even their curse is overturned by the weight class of his own curse and swallowed instead. This monstrous being, wasn't Vast Cold said to be at this level in their youth? If I let him go, he will undoubtedly become a vicious villain like Golden Divine and exact merciless revenge upon us. The quasi-immortal's eyes burn with ferocity. A grim resolve to deal with Seo Yunhyan here, and now through whatever means, is etched onto the quasi-immortal's face. Juak, the dragon with a head like a candle. The monster known as Candle Dragon opens its mouth. At the center of that mouth, Seo Yunhyan, with the three great ultimates on his back and spewing glass true fire, meets the gaze of the entering nirvana true person. Kiyaving. The quasi-immortal feels a chill run through their entire body. It wasn't merely climbing up their body. It wasn't just climbing. He has hidden himself with that candle, endlessly performing a sword dance all the way to this point. The eyes of Seo Yunhyan, who elevated himself to the true immortal domain through the sword dance, now burns incandescently white. The quasi-immortal feels their entire being blaring with a sense of crisis. Ominous, if that strikes directly, even this immortal will suffer a fatal wound. If so, I must counter it. Severing mountain swordsmanship. 33rd stance. Sumaru. However, there is something they didn't anticipate. That is, every form of severing mountain swordsmanship can naturally connect to another. At the climax of the Sumaru sword dance, which borrows the power of the sun and moon heavenly domain, Seo Yunhyan transitions into the stance of the next move. The ideal of the thrust that reached the ultimate. and at its tip the power of death, severing mountain swordsmanship. 34th stance. Kunlun. The chain technique of Sumeru Kunlun unfolds right before the quasi-immortal's eyes. In that instant, the quasi-immortal tries to escape, either by cutting through the hazy mist binding them or by shrinking their body. But escape is impossible. It is as though thousands, hundreds of millions, quadrillions of people are clutching their body in countless places, refusing to allow any transformation or flight. There is no escape. Bound and sealed, there is no way to evade. Then what remains is to strike back. A terrifying authority emanates from the quasi-immortal's head that resembles a goblin. In that brief moment, even Seo Yunhyan feels his legs weaken. At the same time, the entirety of the quasi-immortal's body, which Seo Yunhyan is holding, seems to reverse itself. The quasi-immortal's colossal body undergoes complete antimatter transformation, a spell in which they momentarily detonate their cultivation, transforming their entire body into antimatter to induce mutual annihilation. Because their body itself has been turned into antimatter, it can no longer be nullified by Seo Yunhyan, elevating it to the plane of soul as he had done just moments earlier. The equivalent of 3 stars worth of antimatter explodes, and within that explosion, a thrust resembling a black line pierces through the center of the blast. Like so, a small stellar system, where intelligent life has not yet emerged, becomes buried in light and disappears entirely. Chia. Looking at the smoke emanating from my body, I glance back. Behind me, the entire stellar system, where we had just been fighting moments ago. No, an area far larger than that is engulfed completely in light. I almost died. I click my tongue. Had the chain technique of Sumeru Kunlun been even slightly delayed, I would have probably died right there. To be precise, my cultivation would have fallen to the star-shattering stage, and I would have revived, but standing in front of a quasi-immortal with star-shattering stage cultivation is the same as dying. Amidst a field of planet-sized asteroids, I sit down on a suitable meteor. Thanks to the perfectly executed chain technique of Sumeru Kunlun, I managed to pierce straight through the quasi-immortal's center and escaped with nothing but a slightly scorched body as my only injury. I wonder what happened. I don't believe that the last strike had killed the quasi-immortal. The life force of an entering nirvana true person is immense to the point that it transcends imagination. Just as I am thinking of this, Yudak Yujujuduk. Space distorts as if being crumpled, and someone appears. Chia. It is an entering nirvana quasi-immortal, with smoke rising from its entire body. They still have that goblin-like face, wings transformed into arms and the waterfall-like skirt. However, their size is now closer to my own, resembling that of a regular human. The being glares at me. What sorcery have you performed? I cannot use my cultivation. I smile faintly without saying a word. The power of Sumeru Kunlun has struck its mark. Through the power of pure death, a pin-sized hole has been pierced in the quasi-immortal's soul, leading directly to the domain of pure death. The natural restorative forces of the world will eventually seal the hole, and their cultivation will return on its own. But for now, no matter what they do, they will be unable to use their cultivation. Speak, what must be done to restore my cultivation? You will not answer, then. The quasi-immortal glares at me and stretches out one hand in my direction. I have no choice but to subdue you in close combat. I tense up and raise the 3 great ultimates once more. The physical ability of an entering nirvana true person, just how strong is it? The next moment, Payet, the quasi-immortal's body reaches me as if folding through space. Though they lost their cultivation, they seem capable of manipulating a slight amount of attraction force. In an instant, they use the ground-shrinking technique to close the distance and thrusts their fist. Quagwagwagwing. The planet-sized meteor shatters completely. This is entering nirvana. A simple punch, without any cultivation, chi, attraction force, or martial technique, is enough to destroy a planet. Considering that even star-shattering esteemed ones would need to use techniques or skills or authorities to destroy a planet, the power of a quasi-immortal is truly absurd. Weyeting. Drawing volcanic energy from the 3 great ultimates behind me, I lock eyes with the quasi-immortal who can't use their cultivation. The next moment, we collide once again. Jiaweng. Kicking off a meteor fragment, They fly towards me with an outstretched hand. Activating my sword sea star body, I extend my sword fused with my hand, deflecting their punch before stepping in and driving my knee into their solar plexus. Jiang, a meteor behind the quasi-immortal shatters completely from the shockwave of my strike to their solar plexus. But as if unfazed, they adjust their posture, twist their body, and escape from my grasp. Pud. I take a step back and execute a cross slash, before reaching towards the horn on the goblin-like face to grab it. Clench. Gripping tightly to prevent their escape, I start swinging the quasi-immortal's body violently. Quang. I slam their body into the meteor floor, repeating the motion until the meteor shatters completely. Boom. Taku. The quasi-immortal's arms grab mine, using a precise counterforce to break free of my hold. It seems they haven't wasted their hundreds of thousands of years of age. Displaying a familiarity with close combat, the quasi-immortal grabs my arm with their left hand and punches towards my solar plexus with their other fist. Quang! A meteor behind me shatters. However, I show no sign of pain and immediately lunge forward to headbutt them. The quasi-immortal, as if to accept the challenge, meets my headbutt head-on. Quang! The shockwave erupting between us shakes the very space around us, shattering several nearby meteors. Pud! Thus, the real battle between me and them begins. Even though it's close combat, the entering nirvana true person is indeed strong. Even when I wield the formless all-heaven sword to control thousands of trajectories and press them, they use the sheer mass and force of their physical body to close in and deliver strikes against me. Drawing forth power from the three great ultimates, I relentlessly press the quasi-immortal who cannot use their cultivation. Slash, strike, hit, grab, and swing again. How long have I been pressing and pressing the quasi-immortal? At last, Pazazek. My fist slams into the quasi-immortal's face. The area where my fist strikes is deeply gouged, breaking apart their face. The goblin-like face shatters, revealing the face in a transformation state. TL, transformation state referring to the appearance of demon beasts who can transform into humans during the nascent soul. Aka, transformation stage. The gloomy visage of a woman glares at me with clenched lips. I smirk and unleash a flurry of attacks on her face like crazy. Victory begins to tilt in my favor. Bit by bit, her combat technique form breaks down, revealing the ordinary body of her transformation state. And finally, the move of severing mounting bursts forth, and simultaneously, her body pierces through 3 meteors before being flung out of the asteroid field entirely. Pazazek. Her combat technique form shatters completely. Puek. I follow her through the asteroid field, grab her by the hair, and soar towards a nearby planet, smashing her face directly into its surface. Quagwagwagwin. The surface of the planet, filled with poisonous clouds, quakes violently. Descending into the planet's outer core, I stomp down on the transformation state's skull, belonging to the entering nirvana true immortal who has expended all of her energy. Kiyang. The power of the 3 great ultimates begins to wane slightly. For the 3 great ultimates that amplifies power to near infinity to fade, it means the energy expended is beyond imagination. The expenditure was monumental, however. At long last, I took down a true person. I won. I defeated an entering nirvana true person. Not only that, but I also captured a hostage, one of the true persons suspected to have formed a direct contract with Blood Yin. This is the extent of my current strength. Clap, 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 clap. Suddenly, the sound of applause echoes from behind me. Startled by the sudden noise, I whip around. There, I see a man clad in a purple-gold robe with jet-black hair cascading down his back, clapping his hands. Possessing reddish-purple eyes, he licks his lips with his tongue and speaks. Impressive. It doesn't seem like it's been long since you reached the sacred vessel stage, yet to have already taken down a quasi-immortal. Truly, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this the half-immortal realm. Gripping the limp head of the utterly exhausted quasi-immortal, I ask him a question. Who is the distinguished one? At my words, the man in the purple-gold robe steps closer and responds. Sacred Master of the Purple Gold Realm, Banta. Clench. He stretches out his hand for a handshake, grinning as he does so. It seems to be the greeting custom of the Purple Gold domain. Congratulations on rising to the sacred vessel stage. Until recently, you were merely an esteemed one, weren't you? A remarkable figure deserving of being called a half-immortal, is worthy of visiting Ban Ta Castle of the Purple Gold Realm. That's why I have come personally. Clench. Still gripping my wrist, he begins to apply strong pressure for some reason. Will you accept the invitation? Ban Ta Castle. I heard that the sacred master of the Purple Gold Realm resides in a place called Ban Ta Castle. It seems he is inviting me to congratulate me on reaching the sacred vessel stage. It'd be good to go at least once. As I briefly deliberate while looking at the oddly glimmering eyes of Ban Ta, I suddenly recall something. Ah, sacred master, please wait a moment. I try to withdraw my hand from Ban Ta's handshake. For some reason, he seems to have a habit of holding handshakes for a long time, gripping tightly and reluctant to let go. However, when I pull out the split soul of blood yin that I am holding in one hand, he finally lets go. That is, it's the split soul of blood yin, the very thing embedded in the heavenly lotus fruit. Just now, through Kang Min-hee, I briefly gazed into the underworld. Thanks to that, I successfully fulfilled every fate that blood yin bestowed in a simplified manner. Thus, the absolute nature of blood yin's fate has now been fulfilled. Only one task remains. Wowung. I raise the split soul of blood yin, concentrating attraction force. I can feel it. Wowung. In a far-off corner of the universe, there is a star. It is a star connected to the split soul of blood yin through attraction force. That star is also connected to me through attraction force. I quickly announce before the star. I, Seo Yun Hyan, have reunited with blood yin within 100 years and experienced death due to blood yin. A simplified 7 stars ritual. However, unlike the 7 stars ritual, which seeks approval from the heavens to continue cultivation, this is an act proclaiming to the heavens that I have fulfilled my fate. R. That star is a star created by blood yin. Just as the entering nirvana true persons collectively created a star and imposed fate upon me, blood yin also created a star and endowed me with that prophecy. Ding! With the echo of a Brahma bell reverberating from the depths of the universe, I perceive that I have at last succeeded in breaking free from the star's attraction force. I've deceived fate. Pay it. Along with that, I crush the split soul of blood yin, which is no longer needed. I hope we never meet again, blood yin. Thinking of the main body connected to this split soul, I let out a single remark towards blood yin's split soul. A powerful curse or misfortune of true immortal level could be unleashed, so I should prepare. But it doesn't matter. Fate of the same kind develop resistance, so I no longer need to suffer under the absoluteness as before. In other words, the fate of blood yin seeking reunion with me is much harder to realize. Still, I must remain cautious, as blood yin can directly invoke misfortune on me. It's at that moment. The split soul of blood yin unexpectedly disperses into the void without any resistance. Somehow, I feel blood yin's gaze through the dissipating split soul. For some reason within that gaze, I feel no anger mixed in. Why shouldn't he be flying into a rage? Perhaps my confrontation with the Yama True Lord unexpectedly worked to my benefit. The interdimensional void. In that void beyond the astral realm, blood yin is burning in flames. Scarlet flames engulf his entire body, delivering a pain that affects even true immortals. However, blood yin does not resist the pain. He remains still, quietly experiencing the torment. The scarlet flames. Different from the karmic fire he had once wielded, these flames were given to him just moments ago by the Yama True Lord when he briefly glimpsed the underworld while following Seo Yun Hyan. Yet, rather than seething with anger at Yama True Lord's actions or writhing in agony, blood yin seems to be lost in thought. Could this immortal have been mistaken? He gazes at a section of the interdimensional void. It is the place where the bright cold realm resides. Could it be that he wasn't a spy of light? How could that be? If he wasn't a spy of light, how did he fulfill the summoning conditions for the Radiant's 8 immortals? Blood yin murmurs bitterly. Without a devout faith in light, the conditions could never be satisfied. How? Did the Imperial Venerable know of this, or did they not? Is all I can do only to silently hold my breath in the sun and moon heavenly domain while that insidious light takes action? After mumbling to himself for a while, blood yin lets out a small sigh and surrenders his body to the pain of the scarlet flames. Blood yin resolves to lay low for some time within the grand scheme of the giants. However, he decides to continue to observe Seo Yunhyan. Blood Yin, the light he knows of, is a being so insidious it defies imagination. It might very well be a plot to reach the depths of the underworld through Seo Yunhyan. Blood Yin's gaze lingers until the split soul completely dissipates, then it disconnects. Yet I believe that Blood Yin is still watching me. Though it doesn't show in the celestial energy, the actions of true immortals are inherently beyond the comprehension of mortal eyes, so such readings are meaningless. Anyway, for now, I've fended off Blood Yin's devilish grasp. Of course, I'm still a little concerned about the remaining entering nirvana true persons, but I could retreat into a middle realm or seek help from those like Jinlu Gok in the Path of Stars to solve the problem. Now what remains is the end, and the events that will unfold after Hun One dies. The chain reactions caused by Hun One's death, which I learned about when I became the annihilation flower of the Sal tree heavenly venerable. To prevent those, Hun One cannot be allowed to die. And finally, Coatrial. I must confirm and suppress Coatrial's movement. I recall the Coatrial, who had become a blue earthworm at the end of my previous life. Has Coatrial in this life also become a blue earthworm? He'll probably be fine this time around. The final moments of my past life. The reversal of the white wheel shown by the oldest one. When that reversal began, my regression started, and the 3 seats shrouded in darkness began to radiate light once more. In a sense, the fact that the great mountain supreme deity and the other governing immortals safely returned alive through regression could also be interpreted as part of the oldest 1S arrangement. Because of that, I believe Coatrial has also returned due to the reversal of the wheel. The goals of this life are survival through the end, the absolute prevention of the chain reaction starting from Hun One's death, and the complete control of Coatrial. I'll think of it like this for now. On top of that, it would be ideal to raise my cultivation realm as much as possible. I must begin the sacred vessel stage cultivation, and as for the entering nirvana stage advancement ritual, if luck permits, I might be able to achieve it within this lifetime. The entering nirvana stage advancement is relatively lenient, so even someone as untalented as me doesn't need to worry about failing to reach that stage. The real problem is the true immortal advancement ritual. Well, advancing to true immortal is still a somewhat distant goal for now, so let's put it aside for the moment. In any case, I decide to set my goal in this life to also reach the pinnacle of void shattering and achieve the grand perfection sacred vessel stage. Having set all of my goals for this life, I turn to Ban Ta and say, "The urgent matters are over now. Oh then, and I have something to give you. Something to give me." I rummage through my domain and retrieve an item I had stored there in my past life. As soon as he confirms it, Ban Ta's eyes widen in astonishment. "Well, Wung, in my past life, I hadn't had the chance to examine it properly, but looking at it again now, it's incredibly beautiful. It's a purple steel about the size of a single sheet of paper. However, it gives the impression that it was heavily compressed from something far larger, and once released, its size would easily expand to span 10 li, perhaps even 100 li. Large characters are engraved on the purple steel, and I recognize that they are names written in ancient language. Radiance Hall, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Fallen guiding envoy of the final age of Dharma, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Seat holder of wealth, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Purple gold, heavenly lord, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Hugh AM, Chinese letter / Black Hermitage. Radiance Hall. From the various accounts I had heard, it seems that the purple gold heavenly lord was secretly an infiltrator planted by the underworld in the forces of light. Hence, why their position was also recorded to belong to Radiance Hall. Wu Weng. As soon as I look at the name, my head begins to spin, and I glimpse what seems to be a small hermitage shimmering before my eyes. Beyond the hermitage, I can faintly make out a figure cloaked in shadows. Pud. However, the vision does not go beyond that. A black hermitage. Could this be related to the essence of the purple gold heavenly lord? Shaking my head, I dispel the influence of the purple gold heavenly lord and promptly take out other items. Familiar names appear before me. Chief Judge of the Netherworld. Seat holder of good and evil, Nether Devil True Lord Yu Hao Ti. Deputy Judge of the Netherworld. Seat Holder of Health, Ancient Force True Lord Hei Nyon. Reincarnation, Judge of the Netherworld. Seat Holder of Longevity, Nether Ghost True Lord Yu Su Ryon. And finally, Seat Holder of End, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. These are the true names and positions of the legendary 5 blessings, immortals, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. I can feel the immense waves of power emanating from these inscriptions. These are the symbols of the 5 middle realms. As I stare blankly at the symbols for some time, I suddenly realize the nature of these steels. The power radiating from those names are so overwhelming that I didn't notice it at first, but the material of these steels is something I am very familiar with. Salt crystals. To my astonishment, all of these steels are made of salt crystals. Woven. However, unlike ordinary salt crystals, which return to the ancient force realm when used, these salt crystals seem to be directly connected to their respective middle realms, allowing them to return there. These aren't just ordinary salt crystals. Generally, the energy of the ancient force realm condenses into ancient stones, which then gather and transform into supervisory jades. These supervisory jades, when compressed by the thousands, further transform into salt crystals. However, the symbols of each middle realm are not mere salt crystals. They exude a wave of salt crystal energy, as if they are composed of hundreds of millions of such salt crystals combined. With this, it wouldn't just allow me to descend my consciousness to the lower realms or reflect the places I've been through like the supervisory mirror. I could open and close gates to any of the middle realms at any time, anywhere. After staring at the symbols for a moment, I focus on the symbol of the purple gold realm. Using attraction force, I move the steel inscribed with the true name of the purple gold heavenly lord towards Banta. As the end will soon come, this junior CEO presents the symbol of the purple gold realm to senior Banta. Banta, who had been staring blankly at the symbol of the purple gold realm for a moment, runs his hand over the steel. Then with a trembling voice he says, "You are truly remarkable. It's too high of a praise. This is no exaggeration. You are truly remarkable, unlike the parasites of the purple gold realm. You have a sense of responsibility, and your face has a likable appearance that will garner favor from the mass as well. You are perfect for governance. I'm ashamed. As a junior, I am far from qualified to be a leader." I shake my head, and Banta looks at me with widely flickering eyes for some reason. "Far from qualified, you say? You're even modest. How could there be someone this perfect? Heh. As a senior, I am truly satisfied." With wildly flickering eyes, he approached me and grabs my hand with both of his. "Truly, I want to invite you. If you were to visit Banta Castle, I'd even be willing to rename it Yunhyan Castle for the day of your visit. I deeply appreciate your kindness, but will you come now? I have a matter I need to attend to." After asking for Banta's understanding, I managed to slip away from his strangely firmer grip and head towards Kang Minhee. I temporarily left her behind in a nebula while fighting the entering Nirvana quasi-immortal. Todd. At a distant corner of a nebula. There I reunite with her as she sits among spirits that have turned light blue, waiting for me. Her hair has turned blue, and she wears a robe mixed with blue and black. Unlike before when her hair had been disheveled, it is now neatly arranged, reaching down to her waist. Though her face shows a hint of fatigue, she looks much cleaner than before. Kang Minhee's gaze meets mine. "I told you not to come, didn't I? I said you could die. Anyway, you never listen." "Well, I didn't die, didn't I, in the end? Next time I won't let you pull a stunt like this. Got it?" I chuckle and nod my head. "Do as you please, Taoist Kang," and at my following words, Kang Minhee lets out a faint smile. "Welcome back, Kang Minhee." "Yes, Seo Yunhyan." I approach Kang Minhee and hug her once. After 999 lives, I have finally succeeded in rescuing Kang Minhee from the ghost guiding Holy Mother. That's enough. Kang Minhee, who is hugged by me for a moment, pushes me away before clearing her throat as she avoids my gaze. "All the other comrades have been gathered, right? Where are the others?" "They're inside me." "What?" It was a dangerous situation. If they had stayed where they were, they would have all withered away and died. So, without a choice, I temporarily relocated them. It was a bit abrupt, but I think they'll understand. What do you? I'm not trying to make excuses, but I received a prophecy from some immense being, and to escape that fate and prophecy, I had no choice but to make this decision. To be honest, I think the others are more comfortable being inside me. I explained the situation to Kang Min-hee in detail. After a while, Kang Min-hee fully understands the situation, and perhaps having initially misunderstood something, she slaps my shoulder, saying, "You scared me, you glutton. Haha, so you want to meet them? Yeah, it's been a while. I should see their faces. So much has happened since then." All right, then. I open the colorless sword enclosure and move Kang Min-hee inside, then send an incarnation into the enclosure. From the perspective of my comrades, they were suddenly abducted from the world of Pinglai Island into the world inside my body, only to see Kang Min-hee a few days later. Everyone except Jeon Myo-hoon looks very surprised. Know what? You've reached the sacred vessel stage. Starting with Oh Hyun-seok. Your presence has sharpened significantly. What did you see? Kim Young-hoon, stirred by the presence I gained from obtaining Kunlun. Kim Yoon, still incomprehensible as ever. Don't worry, I've always trusted you, but suddenly reaching the sacred vessel stage, I'm a bit overwhelmed wondering just what you've been doing, but I'm sure you handled it well. Jeon Myo-hoon, giving a trusting smile. There is no one who isn't surprised. Kang Min-hee also seems shocked by the state of our comrades. Director Kim Young-hoon, what on earth happened to your hair? Ha ha ha, you ha ha ha. It's good to see you, Deputy Kang. Kim Young, what's going on with you? Kim Young-hoon's hair has undergone a drastic transformation, and Kim Young has become mute. But what surprises Kang Min-hee the most is something else. It's been a while, Kang Min-hee. It's Jeon Myo-hoon. He approaches Kang Min-hee while stroking Sohei's hand, and calmly offers both a greeting and an apology. I'm sorry for the past. I've done many things that wronged you. There are some things I can't say here, but if it's you, I trust you know what I mean. Back then, I was too young to distinguish right from wrong. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope that, as comrades facing this world together from now on, we won't have to feel uncomfortable. Hearing this, Kang Min-hee stares at Jeon Myo-hoon, her mouth slightly agape, and rubs her eyes. You're not possessed by a ghost, are you? Just happened to you, Jeon Myo-hoon. It's a long story. I'll tell you later. He gives a bitter smile as he continues to stroke Jin Seohee's hand. Kang Min-hee also gives a bitter smile. It seems everyone has been through a lot. She, together with the other comrades, as if overwhelmed with emotions after reuniting after so long, holds the hands of Kim Yoon and Jeon Myo-hoon and lowers her head briefly. Still, I'm glad everyone is safe. We all hug Kang Min-hee tightly. There must be a lot to talk about. Let's go inside and share a conversation for a bit. Snap. I create a house out of crystal within the colorless sword enclosure and send my comrades inside. There is much to discuss, starting from our entry to Pinglai Island. Seo Ran and Shiho enter, and I prepare to send in Hong Fan last. At that moment, Hong Fan approaches me with a question. Master. Oh, what is it, Hong Fan? You've acquired a new immortal art. Oh, you've noticed. In real time, the only instances when I used the immortal art of the wheel were once briefly in front of Blood Yin, once for a moment before the true persons, and once again in front of the Yama true lord. For him to notice that I acquired a new immortal art based on those brief displays, it truly feels like Hong Fan. That's right, I've obtained a new immortal art. Who is the one who passed on that immortal art? For some reason, Hong Fan is wearing an expression almost devoid of emotion, with a rather businesslike and emotionless face. However, because I'm unsure how to respond, I clear my throat. I can't exactly say I acquired it while helping Kang Min-hee's sacred vessel advancement ritual in a past cycle. Clearing my throat again, I reply. It's a bit difficult to explain, so you know how there are things that one shouldn't even mention. I am curious about this immortal art as well. Would it be possible for Master to teach it to me? That might be a little difficult. I can feel it. If I were to recklessly pass on this wheel immortal art, there's a high chance it would provoke interference from either the Yama true lord or the underworld. Just as the great mountain supreme deity descended at the end of a previous cycle, because I recklessly used the great mountain splitting emperor technique. I have a familiar feeling with this wheel. What's certain is that I mustn't carelessly spread it. At my response, Hong Fan looks at me for a moment. It gives me a yearning feeling. For some reason, this immortal art truly feels yearnful. The gaze in Hong Fan's eyes as he says this is, how should I say it? It resembles his gaze when he first saw Ti Yoljian as a nun. What's going on? By any chance, have you remembered your past life? That's not it, but it feels like something is about to emerge. His expression shows he is feeling somewhat nostalgic. Perhaps this wheel is really connected to Hong Fan's past life. Should I tell Hong Fan? Maybe letting Hong Fan know could help. But after some deliberation, I shake my head. I'm sorry, but this I can't tell you. The memory of that incident with the Wuji religious order still lingers in my mind. I cannot carelessly reveal anything, especially matters concerning those of higher rank. I understand. Hong Fan maintains that nostalgic expression for a moment before breaking into a wide smile. I apologize. What I originally wanted to say was, it's nothing significant, but I just wanted to offer my congratulations. It seems I ended up unnecessarily troubling Master. Anyway, congratulations on obtaining a new power, Master. Haha, thank you. Well, that makes sense. Starting from the matter with blood yin to everything else, it must have all felt sudden and overwhelming from the perspectives of others. I explained the matter regarding blood yin, the pursuit of the true person, our circumstances regarding surviving the end, and my goals within the line of not revealing my regression. Along with that, we step into the crystal pavilion. I send an incarnation to reconnect with my comrades, and after sending them to the middle realm, I decide to summon the esteemed ones again. I'll have to become a sacred master of a middle realm soon. Living as a sacred master in a star system isn't bad, but the issue is there's too high a risk of abduction compared to the middle realms. I'll first return to Ban Ta and make a brief stop at Ban Ta Castle before traveling to other middle realms to return the symbols of their middle realms. Then slowly consider which middle realm sacred master I will become. And if possible, I'll make sure Jian Myonghun doesn't end up near the lightning sacred sea in this life. Organizing my plans, I seal the unconscious quasi-immortal within my body and prepare to use the ground shrinking technique to return to Ban Ta. It's then, Welwung. Space distorts, and two sacred beings kneel gracefully in a humble manner before me. Bowing their heads deeply, they speak. We offer our gratitude to Benefactor. We are sworn sisters who were held captive by the vile quasi-immortal Yo Hwi, Chinese letter, Sacred Vessel Sacred Masters Ha Woon, Cutting River, and Jiak Ru, Red Flood Dragon. Thank you for saving us from that licentious enemy. I immediately recognize who they are. Immortal Treasure Cutting River Fan and Immortal Treasure Red Flood Dragon Plaque. So you were sacred beings. Yes, I was captured 120,000 years ago, and my sworn sister Jiak Ru was captured 40,000 years ago. After being refined into immortal treasures by that quasi-immortal, we suffered a long, exhausting, and painful existence without being able to put any meaningful resistance. Thanks to Benefactor capturing that depraved foe, we were able to become free. We offer our deep gratitude once more. Smiling brightly as if genuinely happy just thinking about it, they bow to me once again. Enough with the gratitude. I simply happened to defeat her in the course of confronting her. Hoo, you are even humble. In any case, instead of just giving our thanks, we wish to repay Benefactor. Please accept this. It's a jade slip containing the cultivation formula for the sacred vessel stage, the advancement ritual for the entering nirvana stage, and the cultivation formula for the entering nirvana stage. Ha-Woon hands me the jade slip containing the formulas I need. Ah, thank you. However, I could have received this jade slip from Sacred Master Ban Ta, who is waiting over there. The moment I say the words Ban Ta, it happens. The two sacred vessel sacred beings glance at each other, then exchange a meaningful smile. Later on, Sacred Master Ban Ta will also give you the same formulas. No, not just Sacred Master Ban Ta, but the other Middle Realm Sacred Masters as well. When that happens, compare their formulas with ours. You will be able to immediately sense something strange. You must not recklessly cultivate the formulas given by the Sacred Masters. You will lose your ability to choose. Following Ha-Woon, the woman in the red robe known as Jiak Ru speaks. And regarding that prison called the Purple Gold Realm, no, that impoverished place, I strongly recommend that you never go there, even if you're invited. If you happen to be invited and still go, under no circumstances should you eat the food of the Purple Gold Realm. If Sacred Master Banta invites benefactor, ignore the invitation, and if benefactor didn't ignore it, do not follow him. Even if benefactor do follow him, you must never eat the food of the purple gold realm. And lastly, even if benefactor does eat the food of the purple gold realm, never, under any circumstances, accept Banta's final proposal. Final proposal. Yes, if benefactor were to consume the food of the purple gold realm, Sacred Master Banta will without fail rename his residence using benefactor's name, calling it so-and-so castle. Whatever happens, you must never accept that proposal. Haha, these are quite interesting warnings. Understood, I'll keep it in mind. I nod, committing their warnings to memory. From my previous life, it was well known that Banta was eager to find a successor Sacred Master. Judging by their words, Banta seems to have frequently invited sacred vessels in an attempt to make them his successor. I'll have to be cautious with him as well. I decide to be slightly more vigilant regarding Banta. Before leaving, the sworn sisters Ha Woon and Jiak Ru hand me a drop of their blood. Well, Woon. It isn't actual blood, but rather a collection of information imbued with their energy. It seems to be a portion of the immortal beast seed they possess. Please keep these drops of blood, and when you ever need help, call upon our names. Once in the future, we will lend you the strength of Unnai's immortal art, Cutting River Chinese letter, and my immortal art, Ominous Dragon Chinese letter. Of course, you can also call us through the blood simply to share a cup of tea. We wish to maintain a good relationship with benefactor in the future, so please accept them. After storing their blood droplets in my inner world, I nod. I will remember the goodwill of the sacred beings. At my words, the sisters Ha Woon and Jiak Ru, having said their part, disappear beyond the space. I prepare to use the ground shrinking technique to return to the star system where Banta is. It is then, Kagagung, an immense pressure that feels like it's crushing. My entire body freezes me in place. This is. Overwhelming pressure is pushing down on me. From approximately 4 sources. Those pressures press against me from different directions, and I can discern what they are. True persons. Kagagugu. Beyond the nebula, 2 true persons resembling fish and 2 true persons resembling human-faced birds appear. Release Yo HWI. We are her friends. No matter what kind of entity you have as your backing, facing all 4 of us at once will be difficult. Even if you were lucky enough to defeat a quasi-immortal, do you think you can handle us? Before we tear you to shreds, hand over my Yo HWI. It seems they are true persons, particularly close to the one I took hostage. I let out mental speech, posing a question. Are the others not coming? The others are not coming, feeling reluctant about you. They suspect that there might be a terrifying existence backing you, or perhaps you yourself are a candidate for a true immortal's immortal treasure. But we too have means at our disposal. We do not fear you. Hand over Yo HWI. Kagaguguk. It feels as though my body is crumpling. I notice their intention. They don't particularly have thoughts of letting me live and leave. Whether I hand over the true person or not, it's the same. I can feel that they have come to eradicate me, leaving no roots unpulled. 4 true persons, could I face them? No, I can't. I have to focus on escaping. And if it's escaping, I think I can manage at least that. Fist, starting with the oldest one. I begin to clear my throat, preparing to call upon the names of the beings I know. While it's dangerous for me too, I'll be able to deal a truly devastating hit to these true persons. Just as I am about to utter the names of the true immortals. Wu Weng. Someone blocks my front. It's a familiar back. A wooden figure clad in white robes. Sacred Master Beek Woon has appeared before me. Beek Woon turns to face me and speaks. You've done it. You really managed to take out the symbols from the Golden Divine's treasure vault. Then others appear to my left and right. A woman with black hair, wearing black robes. Sacred Master Yuo. A handsome man with blue skin covered in scattered blue scales and wearing an open front garment. Sacred Master Hei Lin. And behind me, a male sea dragon race whose face resembles one that makes me feel unpleasant. Sacred Master Yaoyam. Just earlier, I felt the aura of the symbols. The distinguished one must have them correct. Please hand them over. We will be able to withstand the end. However, at their words, the true persons erupt in fury. How dare mere sacred masters? What do you think you can do, sending clones to a place that isn't even the middle realms? Scram, we have business with him. Dujujujudo. The roars of the true persons cause a corner of the universe to tremble. At their shouts, the clones of the sacred master shake as if they are about to disappear. I endure the sensation of my insides churning by the vibrations of their roars. Then Beak Wound suddenly shouts loudly. Hand it over now. If you give me the symbol, I will help you immediately. Gal, you dare to mock us. Will you not get lost at once? I observe the reactions of both the true persons and the sacred masters. With swift judgment, I take out the steels and throw them to each of the middle realm sacred masters. Beak Wound receives the steel of the seat holder of End, vast cold heavenly lord. Hei Lin receives the steel of the seat holder of Health, ancient force true lord. Yaim receives the steel of the seat holder of Good and Evil, nether devil true lord. Uo receives the steel of the seat holder of Longevity, nether ghost true lord. And from a far distance, Banta rushes to this place with a stern expression. He also carries the steel of the seat holder of Wealth, purple gold heavenly lord. Wu Lung. 5 beams of light hum and gather at the scene. Sacred master of the bright cold realm, Beak Wound. Sacred master of the nether ghost realm, Uo. Sacred master of the ancient force realm, Hei Lin. Sacred master of the true devil realm, Yaim. Sacred master of the purple gold realm, Banta. The sacred masters of the 5 middle realms smile faintly and infuse their consciousnesses into the steels. The true persons let out roars filled with fury, and the clones of the sacred masters standing beside the steels all vanish in unison. But in the next moment, pay it. Centered on the steels, 5 massive dimensional gates open. Beyond the dimensional gates, Heavenly Lotus Mountain, Black Palace, Sea King Hall, Banta Castle, and Blood Sacrificial Altar. The residences of the 5 sacred masters appear, and the 5 sacred masters step through the gates simultaneously. Beak Wound begins walking forward. Thud thud suwud. With every step she takes, Beak Wound grows larger. At first she is about the same size as me, but with each step she grows to the size of a moon, a planet, and then a fixed star, until she stands eye-wide with the true persons. Wu-wung. The dimensional gate opened with the symbol of the bright cold realm. From that gate, the ferocious energy of the bright cold realm is empowering Beak Wound. Beak Wound looks down at the true persons with an ominous expression. Beak Wound, are you protecting that sacred vessel in front of us? That one has captured our friend Yo HWI, if you just hand him over. In the next moment, Quaying. Without listening to further words, Beak Wound strikes one of the true persons at the entering nirvana stage, crumpling their form completely. You dare not call me senior, you impudent brat. Behind Beak Wound, the sacred masters of each middle realm begin drawing upon the power of the middle realms and step forward to block the way in front of me. The faces of the true persons, who were full of confidence at first, change drastically in an instant. The sacred masters of the middle realms, having obtained the symbols, begin to properly use their strength. Kagagagugu. Darkness surges and churns around Uo. At the same time, the dark figure of a giant flickers faintly behind her. Just as Beak Wound and Juk Guang learned a method of borrowing the power of the Radiant's 8 immortals, she seems to have learned a method that borrows the power of a reaper of the netherworld. Clank. The projection of a reaper opens the mouth of the gourd used to collect the souls of the dead. Atriuwu. It's like a black hole in the universe. The space where the entering nirvana true persons are begins to shift as a whole, pulling the true persons into the whole. Hear us, stars of the nations, Chinese letter, we declare, during the time of great yin, the place where we reside shall be free from the netherworld's interference. The star veins writhe. Then, during the time corresponding to night, on one planet, the netherworld that overlaps with this astral realm temporarily detaches itself from this world. For the duration of one night, no one in this vicinity will die. However, Hei Lin's voice resounds. I will make you beg for death. Dujujujujuk. His body grows larger. Simultaneously, from the dimensional gate of the ancient force realm, a waterfall like deep sea is unleashed into the cosmic space. The true persons can be seen frantically communicating across the distant astral realm. Judging by their frantic communication with the true person, it seems they are requesting for reinforcements. However, the connection they sent to the other side of the astral realm is forcibly severed. The true persons on the other side have chosen to ignore them. The deep sea begins to move, centering on Hei Lin, and wraps around his body like armor. Watching this, I can't help but think of the clear scale armor. Finally, the deep sea completely envelops Hei Lin and takes shape. It becomes a colossal sea in the form of a Zijai, more massive than anyone else present. The Zijai slams its forepaw down. In that single strike, imbued with the authority of the ancient force realm, the nearby space of the astral realm is entirely shattered, causing a corner of the universe to collapse. Crazy, this is practically comparable to the single strike from the sword spear, Heavenly Lord. But immediately after, Hei Lin sends the deep sea armor back to the ancient force realm, wearing a visibly exhausted expression. For even Hei Lin, who can endlessly draw upon the power of the ancient force realm, to be this drained means the technique consumes an unimaginable amount of energy. Even so, to unleash power comparable to the single strike of a true immortal. This is the true power of the middle realm sacred masters. Next, Yaim steps forward. Yaim, making an unpleasant smile, forms a hand seal and summons something from the corner of the universe, which has collapsed into an entrance to the interdimensional void. Devilish spell. Blood Yin Ghost Valley Labyrinth. Devilish spell. Blood sacrifice consuming style, Blood Yin returning home. The surroundings transform into the outskirts of the netherworld that has been eroded by the authority of the Blood Yin. At the same time, the entering nirvana true persons are suddenly connected to Blood Yin through attraction force and start being dragged into the Blood Yin realm. The true persons scream madly and shout towards the other side of the attraction force, narrowly managing to escape Yaim's authority. How dare you? The true persons glare at Yaim, trembling with rage. But at the last moment, Banta steps forward. Die, you scum worse than parasites. Clench. The energy of the purple gold realm begins to be endlessly supplied to Banta. At the same time, something falls from a distant place. It is a totem pole, Kochungsung Enus / Chinese letter. TL Jangsyung, Aka, Kochungsung Enus, is basically a guardian totem pole traditionally placed at the edges of villages to mark boundaries and fend off demons. Each and every purple totem pole are large enough to pierce through a fixed star, descending from beyond the cosmic space and embedding themselves into the bodies of the true persons. Jiang. The true persons, overwhelmed by pain, begin to flee. Towards the scattering true persons, Sacred Master Beak Woon steps forward once more. The nebulas of the universe converge. At the core of the nebulas, light and heat begin to surge and churn. That light, under Beak Woon's will and the power of the bright cold realm, starts to be refined. The light takes the form of a halberd. The gigantic Beak Woon, now grasping the resplendent light halberd Chinese letter, forged from the gathered nebula, hurls it without hesitation. Chills. From that spear of light, I recall a scene from my past life. The scene of the sword spear, Heavenly Lord's sword of light flying across the universe. Jejejong. The light halberd collapses a corner of the universe, and the true persons, sensing this, flee even more frantically. Chi. Beak Woon's right arm burns away, but she remains unfazed, slicing off her right arm entirely with an indifferent expression. She then shouts loudly. Hear me, entering nirvanas. This Seo Yun Hyan before you is the great hero of the Middle Realms, who reclaimed the symbols of the 5 Middle Realms from the bird of the tyrannical Golden Divine. Henceforth, any being who dares oppress the great hero of the bright cold realm shall face me, Beak Woon, personally. Her voice reverberates across the entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain. This is sacred masters who have gained the ability to wield their power even within the astral realm. In truth, sacred masters capable of drawing power from the corpses of the middle realms are no different from true immortals. I gaze up at the sacred masters in awe of their power. Payet. Soon, the sacred masters return to their original forms. Beak Woon taps my collarbone lightly with her left arm, praising me. You are a great hero, to accomplish in such a short period of time what no esteemed one could achieve. Thanks to you, we have regained the strength to endure the end. As a senior of the bright cold realm, I am deeply proud of you. Hei Lin approaches with a pleased expression. I don't know if you remember. Last time, I issued an exile order because you learned the phenomena extinguishing mantra. I believed it would benefit you more to cultivate hidden in the depths of the deep sea rather than staying in the sea domains of the ancient force realm. That's why I expelled you from the sea domain with that exile order. There was no malice behind it. By the way, after you left, Yuk Rin completely lost his mind. Attempting to challenge the realm of esteemed ones, he fell into madness, mistaking himself for Yuk Ung. In the process, he destroyed an entire sea domain and is now sealed. Would you mind briefly stopping by the ancient force realm to check on him? He mentions Yuk Rin's situation and suggests I visit the ancient force realm. Thank you for the suggestion. By the way, I approach Yuo, who is standing among the sacred masters. It's been a while, Sacred Master Yuo. Now that I look at it, it's not that face. Last time, I had a brief chat with the back of Sacred Master Yuo's head. By any chance, did the back of your head tell you anything? Yuo's expression begins to take on something peculiar, and I can't figure out what she is thinking, leaving me pondering how to continue the conversation. At that moment, Ya-Eum approaches me with a faint smile. Ho-ho, when I first heard about you from Beek Woon, I thought you were just a cheeky heart tribe esteemed one. But now, you've become a respectable Taoist. Sacred Master Ya-Eum, the title of Taoist is still a little burdensome. To be precise, hearing the term Taoist directed at me from that face is very unsettling. It looks far too much like Coh. At my reaction, Ya-Eum chuckles and nods his head. Understood, Cultivator Co. Then perhaps we'll discuss titles again once we're better acquainted. By the way, Cultivator Co. Yes. I am reminded of when Cultivator Co was below the heavenly being stage. Was it just a few hundred years ago? I recall when Cultivator Co brought the heavenly lightning banner to the true devil realm and attempted to send it below the void spirit pond. Yes. To me, it's something from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Back in the golden divine heavenly thunder sect days, such an event had indeed occurred. Incidentally, I do have something to say regarding that. Because of Cultivator Co bringing the heavenly lightning banner back then, there were changes in the flow of attraction force, which in turn altered the fate and ecology of the living beings in that area. I believe Cultivator Co should visit the true devil realm to check on it. The region where the void spirit pond is located is, of course, the area where Su In and Hong Yon reside. There were changes in the area where those two live. It definitely seems like something I need to confirm. Indeed, that is partly my responsibility. I should go and take a look. Exactly. Since we're on the topic, why don't we briefly go take a look right now? Wowung. Ya-Eum casually uses the power of the symbol to open an interdimensional gate connecting to the true devil realm, then grabs me and casually pushes me inside. Before I know it, I find myself stepping into the true devil realm alongside him. Just as I'm about to cross into the true devil realm. Quajing. The entrance to the true devil realm is violently warped. Beek Woon, Hei Lin, Yuo, and Ban Ta, the other sacred masters each strike the entrance with their respective attraction forces. Among them, Ban Ta in particular, has a twisted expression resembling an evil spirit. What do you think you're doing, Sacred Master Ya-Eum? Ban Ta growls as he approaches Ya-Eum. Ya-Eum, smiling faintly, replies, Ho ho, Sacred Master Ban Ta, why are you so worked up? This is just. Then, quack, Ban Ta kicks Ya-Eum squarely in the shin. With his face fully distorted, he glares at Ya-Eum and speaks. Is this the time to be laughing, Ya-Eum? The smile from Ya-Eum's face disappears as he meets Ban Ta's eyes. I don't see what the issue is, Ban Ta. Are you saying this, not knowing my situation? No, ignorance would be preferable, because if you knew and still acted this way, I'd want to invade the true devil realm. Kyujujuduk. Ban Ta grabs Ya-Eum by the shoulder and presses him down. Ya-Eum furrows his brows as if trying to resist, but his waist bends slightly under Ban Ta's pressure. Ban Ta, with his face twisted like an evil spirit, glares at the other sacred masters. Seniors Beek Woon and Yuo, and Hei Lin, what's going on with you? Are you mocking me right now? Don't you well understand what I'm feeling right now? At those words, Beek Woon sneers and responds. What's the issue, Ban Ta? I have no intention of doing anything in particular. I only meant to briefly invite him to White Jade Pavilion for some commendation, since he's a native of our bright cold realm. Lin laughs at Beak Woon's remark. A native of the bright cold realm, you say? How amusing, Senior Beak Woon. Seo Yun Hyan attained significant enlightenment in the ancient force realm. Wouldn't that make his origin the ancient force realm, where he acquired the greatest enlightenment? Yuo also joins the conversation all of a sudden. My apologies for interrupting, but if we're going by that logic, he could also be considered a native of our nether ghost realm. Just look at the power of death brimming in his soul, and everyone here saw him fleeing from Blood Yin. That strike at Blood Yin's hand was definitely the thick power of death. He is undoubtedly a native of our nether ghost realm. I must speak of this matter further. Ho, rather, the one who should be speaking about this is me. He is our true devil realms. And then, Banta, seething with rage, roars at them. Fine, you dog bastards. After all the years I've waited, are you telling me none of you are willing to yield even a little? Greedy fools. In that case, I have no choice but to settle this with strength. Banta forms hand seals. Once again, totem poles descend from beyond the universe. At the same time, the other sacred masters also begin drawing upon their authorities. Jug. The 5 sacred masters from the middle realms take combat stances, encircling me in the center as they suddenly prepare to fight. Duduk. The sacred masters, who are beginning to draw upon the power of the middle realms. These beings, who are virtually no different from true immortals, begin to exude their rank. The sheer intensity of their rank alone causes the celestial energy in the vicinity to flicker and distort countless times. As expected, I can't defeat the sacred masters of middle realms. Sacred masters of star systems and those of the middle realms are similarly formidable within their respective domains. Of course, even when they are said to be similar, the sacred masters of the middle realm have a slight edge. However, it's a different story when it comes to external attacks. Sacred masters of the middle realms can perfectly unfold a defensive battle by drawing on the complete corpse of the true immortal that constitutes their middle realm when external attacks come. Additionally, they can open a pathway to outside the middle realms through the symbols, enabling them to counterattack even against true immortals in case of emergencies. But sacred masters of star systems are different. If a true person at the entering nirvana stage were to attack from the outside the star system would crumble from the periphery, leading to inevitable defeat. This is because the defensive power of the star systems, which they are harmonized with, lacks the absolute quality. To overcome the sacred masters, it would be better to. I recall the move of Kunlun. Unless I can unleash an attack that approaches the domain of pure death on the level of Kunlun, there is absolutely no chance of victory against the sacred masters of the middle realms. Suddenly, a thought regarding Jang Ik crosses my mind. Jang Ik never feared Beak Woon. Perhaps if it's Jang Ik who has reached the pinnacle of the second step before the throne, he might have a single move capable of seizing victory against such sacred masters. It might very well be the hidden something I sensed from him the last time we met. Of course, I'm not overwhelmed by Beak Woon either, but to a certain extent, that's because of the immortal arts and names of true immortals I know. It is thanks to that incomprehensible knowledge that I have. If I were to face Beak Woon relying solely on my own abilities, I wouldn't remain as Seo Yun Hyan but instead, Seo the Firewood. That's why I've always harbored an instinctive fear towards Beak Woon, born from a fundamental difference in weight class. Even when I tortured Beak Woon last time, it was only possible because I had the asymmetrical advantage of Yang Sujin's Thunder Spears and Jian Myonghoon. If it had been me alone, I wouldn't have dared. Shaking my head, I feel cold sweat running down my back as I stand before the sacred masters, whose momentum grows ever stronger. As long as one isn't a vegetable, one can understand. These individuals are not simply trying to invite me. They're trying to capture me and turn me into a sacred master. In truth, aside from Banta, the other sacred vessel sacred masters also harbor significant desires for successors. However, I never expected them to be this zealous. Banta growls. 500,000 years. 500,000 years. I've endured this accursed purple gold realm for 500,000 years, pretending to be a king and even naming my castle Banta Castle. Beak Woon. Back then, you were one of the true persons who captured me and made me the sacred master of the purple gold realm. How can you be so shameless? At this, Beak Woon sneers. What does 500,000 years matter? After all, as cultivators, we must all become accustomed to eternity. It's not even a long time, so don't make such a fuss. And captured to become the sacred master, you say. Weren't you the one who agreed willingly? You even said it was necessary for your cultivation, so I gave you the entire purple gold realm. Yet how is it now my fault for your failure of not being able to raise a successor? I, on the other hand, even willingly lowered my realm by one step to become a sacred master for the sake of the greater good. At those words, Ya'im lightly interjects. Apologies, sacred master Beek Woon, but wasn't the so-called greater good you speak of simply the decree of the Radiant's 8 immortals? At the time, I don't recall there being any particular reason for the sacred master to take charge of the bright cold realm. It was simply a command from the Radiant's 8 immortals that happened to benefit you personally, was it not? Calling it for the greater good, or whatever is a bit unbecoming to look at. This brat thinks he can say whatever he wants just because he has a mouth. What starts as a mere argument between the sacred masters begins to escalate as their auras swell. Their intensifying auras swell to the point of nearing an explosion. Then, just as their auras reach the brink of exploding. Let's not do this, I have a good solution. What is it? At Ya'im's words, the sacred masters collectively stop their quarrel. He smiles faintly before turning his gaze towards me. That is to simply. Then, just as he seems about to say something, he suddenly reaches out towards me quickly. Cihuela. It feels as though a colossal sea dragon is flying towards me. I narrowly evade Ya'im's strike, and the other sacred masters immediately catch on to what's happening. The classic first-to-catch-win situation. Kug. Startled by this incredulous turn of events, I quickly retreat. But the sacred masters, their eyes now ablaze, rush after me. Wait, Seo Yunhayan, where are you going? Come now, cultivator Seo. Just stop by Ban Ta Castle for a moment. I've even prepared a feast for you. Drop by Ban Ta Castle and enjoy some food before you leave. Ho, cultivator Seo. I have some important information to share with you. Won't you listen for just a moment? It's about purple soul filling the heavens. They push and shove each other with attraction force and spells as they close in on me. Then they begin quickly hurling something constructed of consciousness towards me, and I can't help but be struck by some of them. These are sacred vessel cultivation methods. These are sacred vessel cultivation methods, unique to each sacred master of the middle realms. Look, Seo Yunhayan, the cultivation method of our bright cold realm is the most superior. No, look at the purple gold realm. Do you know what I've been doing for the past 500,000 years? This is the sacred vessel stage cultivation method I've spent 500,000 years researching in the purple gold realm. It is by far the most superior sacred vessel stage cultivation method. While throwing their sacred vessel cultivation methods at me, they beckon me to come to them. Finally, when they chase me down to the point where they are once again right before me. As expected, now is not the time to become a sacred master. Starting from the role of protecting the middle realm during the end, it's not something a novice sacred master like me can accomplish properly. This is the time to lay the foundation. Even if I do become a sacred master, it should be after the end, during the era of creation. With a faint smile, I speak to the sacred masters. My apologies, but this junior feels it is still a bit too early to take on the position of a sacred master of a middle realm. I will wander the astral realm for a little longer and decide then. With those words, I immediately draw the colorless glass sword and slash towards the void. Hidden heavens beyond the path. Payet. In the blink of an eye, I vanish from the sacred master's sight like a mirage. The sacred masters, unable to grasp the situation for a while, erupt into fury. You dia rescap. Unleashing the power of the middle realms, the sacred masters begin to devastate the surroundings with terrifying authority. Quick judgment. Upon seeing me disappear in an instant, they seem to have deduced that this is not a teleportation spell or ground shrinking technique, but some form of stealth technique, and they respond by unleashing wide-area attacks. But it's unfortunate for them. If there is one problem, it's that their opponent isn't an ordinary beginner at the sacred vessel stage, but me, someone who has risen to the sacred vessel stage through the 3 great ultimates. Piet. I retreat to the most concealed place within the plane of soul, distancing myself far from them. My all-heaven sword, which already allows me to traverse planes, has now been enhanced with hidden heavens beyond the path. Not only can I send myself into the plane of soul, but I can also shift all my traces and all premonitions regarding me into the depths of the plane of soul, allowing me to temporarily vanish completely. Temporarily, no history, no foresight can locate me. This feat is an extraordinary technique that even Jang Ik cannot replicate, only made possible because of my advancement to the sacred vessel stage, significantly enhancing my control over the plane of Qi and my power within the plane of fate. I swiftly escape from the grasps of the sacred masters and head towards the path of stars. First, I need to head to the lightning sacred sea and inform the esteemed ones that the search for the symbols has concluded. After arranging for them to return through the path of stars, I'll have to make contact with that guy. Wowung. The celestial energy in the vicinity shifts. It seems the sacred masters are performing divination. However, when even foresight fails to reveal my presence, they appear flustered. I've temporarily hidden myself from foresight using hidden heavens beyond the path, but as soon as that technique wears off, they'll pinpoint my location immediately. I need to proceed quickly. Pay it. I arrive in the peaceful cloud realm, leaving behind an incarnation to both observe the sacred master's movements and to ensure that I'll notice any anomalies occurring in the realm. With that arranged, I immediately activate the path of stars and head towards the lightning sacred sea. Wowung. I quickly move along the path of stars. Unlike when I had activated it as an esteemed one, activating the path of stars now at the sacred vessel stage allows me to pass through far more bases at once and activate teleportation arrays with much greater speed. In what feels like an instant, I arrive at the lightning sacred sea. For now, directly entering the lightning sacred sea is absolutely out of the question. Doing so would result in an immediate confrontation with Golden Shaking Bird. I send an incarnation into the depths of the lightning sacred sea. Not long after, several figures emerge. It's the heaven collapsing esteemed one Jang Ik and the lightning sacred sea expedition team. After explaining the situation to them, I inform them that the path of stars has been reactivated and that they can immediately use it to return. At first, they appear slightly suspicious, but as those deeply connected to the middle realms, they seem to vaguely sense that the symbol have returned to the realms and show signs of acceptance. Understood, someone of the sacred master level wouldn't deceive us for fun. Then, let us meet again in the middle realm. With that, they step on the path of stars. Then Jang Ik locks eyes with me. You, just what exactly did you do? His eyes widen, not at anything else but at my realm. No matter how much we of the Heart Tribe grow rapidly with just enlightenment, there's still a certain degree of gradual cultivation, Chinese letter, that must take place. Just how did a brat at the first step before the throne reach the second step before the throne in just a few hundred years, and that too while cultivating heaven and earth dual cultivation alongside it? He seems to find it a bit absurd. I lift the colorless glass sword with a grin. Would you care for a match? In my past life, I was paralyzed with fear by the perfect circle shown by Hyun Guai and couldn't raise my sword. Because of that, my exchanges with Jang Ik were limited to the chopstick fight, and we never truly fought head-to-head, leaving a sense of regret. But it's possible in this life. As I stare at Jang Ik with a faint expression of anticipation, he speaks again. Let's save it for later. Pardon? Slightly taken aback, I question him again. The Jang Ik is holding back. From a fight with me. A fight with a strong opponent. However, I immediately understand from Jang Ik's next words. It seems that for the two of us to truly exchange enlightenment, we would have to stake our lives. In other words, if we were to fight, one of us would have to die. It's not a situation where one side can hold back against the other. He smacks his lips and says, before dying, shouldn't I at least leave some final words for Cedarwood Grove and visit the graves of my other disciples you've killed? So, as much as it pains me, let's postpone our duel for now. Understood. Since it's a reasonable suggestion, I slightly smack my lips and decide to settle things with him at a later time. Jang Ik turns around, about to step onto the path of stars, but suddenly stops and looks back at me. Do you know why our Heart Tribe's territory is called Cedarwood Grove? Pardon, isn't it simply because there are a lot of cedar trees? And why do you think there are so many cedars planted in the Heart Tribe territory? With my abilities, I could have easily cleared them all in an instant and planted any other crop that would be more useful. Why do you think I deliberately created a cedar forest? Is there some reason for it? Of course there is, the details are. As though recalling something, Jang Ik furrows his brows. But he shakes his head and says, "Go visit the peaceful cloud realm, the fighting spirit of the small green race there. You human race call it martial arts, right? Anyway, if you trace back the origin of peaceful cloud realm's fighting spirit and martial arts, you'll find something interesting." Something interesting. The origins of martial arts. Could this be related to why Hyun Gwai blocked them specifically in the peaceful cloud realm? Yes, I will look into it if I get the chance. Good, look for it at least once. What there is in the peaceful cloud realm greatly helped me in conceptualizing the realm of 3 steps before the throne. With those words, Jang Ik disappears beyond the path of stars. Was there such a secret hidden in the peaceful cloud realm? I feel a bit of surprise at Jang Ik's words and gaze momentarily toward the lightning sacred sea. The esteemed ones have all been sent back. Now, the various forces of the middle realm should remain stable until the end. The lightning sacred sea, too, will not be entered anytime soon. No, until I reach the entering nirvana stage with the 3 great ultimates, I absolutely must not go in. Even if I do enter, it will only be through an incarnation. Now there's only one thing left to take care of. Come out, I murmur while gazing into the darkness of the astral realm. Coatrial. It's been long and even longer. Now the time has come to bring this to a conclusion. From within the darkness of the astral realm, a familiar face suddenly emerges. As I thought, he, who had fallen to become a blue earthworm in the previous life, has now been restored in this one. When the white wheel reversed, my canvas of myriad forms and connections that felt a twisting sensation when Coatrial was erased became comfortable again, leading me to suspect his restoration. It's truly astonishing, Taoist Co. Ho, to think that in just 800 years, you would elevate the 3 realms of heaven, earth, and heart to the level of immortal arts and reach the sacred vessel stage. From mocking blood yin to defeating a true person, to eluding all the sacred masters of the middle realms. Such divine feats are truly. Coatrial. I cut off his words. I pull out Ran, who resides within my body before Coatrial. Ran looks around the surroundings, as if unable to grasp what's going on. Meanwhile, I can feel Coatrial's excitement as he senses Ran's aura. "Oh Rana, what's this? It's truly been a long." And just as Coatrial begins moving toward us, I firmly grip Ran's neck and shove his soul and body directly towards the netherworld. Among the 4 worlds overlapping the astral realm, Ran's nascent soul and spirit tremble towards the netherworld. Ran, with his low cultivation, doesn't even understand what's going on. However, Coatrial and I both know that his soul could fall into the netherworld at any moment. This is a technique only possible after reaching the sacred vessel stage. Anything I hold in my grasp, I can now cast into the netherworld, source river, eastern heaven flower field, or interdimensional void at will. Don't move, I might drop Ran by accident. Of course, I have no intention of doing so. Ran is, in the end, my friend. I truly feel sorry for doing this to him, but there is no other way to see Coatrial's most genuine face. To be honest, anyone who knows me well would understand that I would never throw Ran into the netherworld. I absolutely cannot do it. Because he is my friend. Because even if, to the current Ran, I am just a senior held in high regard, to me, he is someone I feel a deep connection with. In short, what I'm doing now is nothing more than an obvious bluff. A cheap bluff that even third-rate villains wouldn't stoop to. However, Coatrial wipes the smile off his face completely in response to this petty, almost laughable bluff. What are you trying to do? I already know Ran's true identity. I believe I told you not to move. If you activate even the slightest bit of tainted soul filling the heavens, I'll let go immediately. I can feel gazes from all corners of the universe. They are the gazes of the tainted soul, filling the heavens entities unleashed by Coatrial. Distant stars. Nearby stars. All living beings dwelling in those places stop what they are doing with solemn expressions and turn their attention towards me. Senior, what are you saying? Ran looks at me with slight confusion and asks. However, I remain silent. Coatrial too doesn't say a word. Then, a moment later. Finally, Coatrial casts aside all his masks and speaks to me with a solemn expression. What do you want, Yunhyun? Everything of yours. For the first time across 999 lifetimes, I have grasped Cohl by the throat. For the first time in nearly 1,000 lifetimes, I have gained the upper hand in my confrontation with Cohl and demand what I want. All your secrets, confess them, Cohl. Now that your main body has been exposed, I hold absolute superiority over you. I won't negotiate. I won't make any deals. If you utter even a single sly word, Ran will be disposed of immediately. Wowung. I distort the space around us, forming a small dimension on the spot. Just as Blood Yin had done to me, it serves both as a reception chamber to hear Cohl's words and as a barrier to prevent him from escaping. As if it's a part of the colorless sword enclosure, it is a world bristling with swords protruding everywhere. And then, in the next moment, thud, Cohl, his face devoid of expression, kneels before me for the first time. This yearn for reunion with Cohl no longer makes him seem as towering as before. First, if there are any tainted soul filling the heavens embedded within me, remove and reclaim them. The same goes for my comrades. At those words, Cohl nods slightly. Chwararak. From me and my shadow, an overwhelming amount of dark, shadow-like entities flow out and return to Cohl. This insane bastard. I click my tongue at the sheer number of tainted soul, filling the heavens Cohl had hidden. No matter how well-suited tainted soul filling the heavens is for hiding in the darkness or how difficult it is to detect, this is truly ridiculous. I've always sensed the presence of tainted soul filling the heavens before, but I never imagined there were this many. Truly, he is someone who cannot be underestimated. State your purpose, Cohl. There is truth within the head realm, and approaching that ultimate truth, that is my goal. I glare at him. And what do you intend to do once you obtain that truth? I won't tolerate lies. At my words, Cohl briefly stares at me with a chilling gaze before opening his mouth. I can't say. Have you forgotten who holds your lifeline? When I envelop Ran's surroundings with even more power of the netherworld, Cohl mutters. My true purpose, my past. As long as you don't ask about these two things, I'll help you obtain whatever else you need. However, these two are the only things I can never speak of to anyone. If you insist on knowing these truths and use Ran as leverage to threaten me, I will use all the tainted soul filling the heavens I've amassed until now to ruin your mind. Cohl's eyes turn hollow in a way I've never seen before. Don't corner me, Yun Hyan. Even if I die today, I can destroy everything you hold dear before I go. You wouldn't want that either, would you? Fine then, I'll learn bit by bit. I smile faintly and ask, what exactly is Ran's true identity? Why is Ran, the pillar of your tainted soul, filling the heavens? At my words, Ran's eyes widen to the point of popping out. Senior, what on earth are you talking about? I'll explain later. Cohl, briefly contemplating for a moment, opens his mouth with an expressionless gaze. Ran is my childhood, to be precise. He is the embodiment of the emotions and purity, from a time when I believed myself to be an ordinary human child. That is Ran. If tainted soul filling the heavens is the scattering of the configurations of the memories of my life into the world, Ran is the separation and preservation of only the happiness and emotions I experienced during childhood. You believed yourself to be an ordinary human child. What do you mean by that? I told you not to ask about the past. His gaze grows hollow once more. It's clear. This guy is undoubtedly cornered right now. That hollow gaze, which he has never shown before, reveals it all. I need to handle this carefully. I sense that if provoked, he will unleash tainted soul filling the heavens into a rampage at any moment. To what extent does your rule about not asking about your past apply? Does it include yesterday? It doesn't. So it's not your entire past, but a specific point in time that you're referring to. That specific point must be, I see. Since you yourself likened Ran to your childhood, the childhood you speak of must be what you're referring to as your past. In that case, as long as I don't ask about your childhood, I can question you about other matters, correct? Correct. Cohl stares at me as he answers. Childhood. Suddenly, the image of Ran from Pinglai Island flashes in my mind. Back on Pinglai Island, Ran was oddly depicted not as a member of the sea dragon race, but as a human orphan beggar. Now I finally understand the reason. Ran is the childhood persona of Cohl. And if Seo Atrial's childhood persona is that of a human child, it was because Seo Ran possessed a human identity that he appeared as a human on Pingla Island. I asked Seo Atrial, "There's something I'm curious about. Why then have you been trying to kill Seo Ran all this time?" The biggest question: if Seo Ran is Seo Atrial's main body, why has he been trying to kill him until now? Seo Ran was the original soul I possessed, a soul containing nothing but the emotions and purity of my childhood. But at the same time, as he is the pillar of tainted soul filling the heavens, he was originally meant to serve as its foundation and have my persona overlaid upon him. As Seo Atrial spills this truth, he appears darker and more hollow than ever before, an appearance brimming with venom. If I provoke him right now, it looks like something big might happen. But an error occurred in tainted soul filling the heavens. After placing my main body inside Uo's body, my main body became distorted as it absorbed Uo's emotions. As a result, instead of the persona of me who was supposed to originally grow, a new persona emerged, and that new persona took on a new name. That is, Seo Ran. Uo's emotions. What emotions did he absorb? The biological responses that occur when a living being reproduces and conceives offspring, the emotion commonly referred to as maternal love. Grin. A smile appears on Seo Atrial's face. It is the most grotesque smile he has ever shown. The corners of his mouth pull back so far that his gums are exposed, yet his eyes do not smile at all. It is a smile that resembles a machine imitating a human expression. Out of all the smiles I've seen from Seo Atrial across countless cycles, this grotesque smile feels like his most genuine smile. It's amusing, the emotions of a mere living being disrupting immortal arts. Then again, the Uo was that Uo, so perhaps she used some unknown immortal art to flaw tainted soul filling the heavens. Watching Seo Ran grow, I realized my plan had failed. Originally, it was an attempt to erode Uo, but instead, my main body was eroded by her tricks and mutated strangely. So, I began devising a plan to fix the broken main body. From his mouth, the truth about the endless trap Seo Atrial laid finally spills out. The mutated main body acted just like an ordinary child. From its behavior to all of its psychological states, everything pointed to it being an ordinary existence. So, I decided to break it the way one would break any ordinary existence. First, I orchestrated the bullying of Seo Ran to make him suffer from depression. By breaking Seo Ran's personality, I intended to push him to commit suicide at the end, thereby resetting my main body. As each of Seo Atrial's schemes are revealed, Seo Ran's pupils begin to shake madly. He continues his explanation. However, another variable arose in the plan. It was Jian Hyang. Corrupted after witnessing the truth of the head realm, Jian Hyang suddenly stopped being affected by my tainted soul filling the heavens. Contrary to my plans, she comforted Seo Ran's mind. In the end, I failed to break Seo Ran's personality and drive him to suicide. So as a last resort, I handed Seo Ran a self-destruct magic artifact, intending to obliterate him along with the Nether crossing ship. The self-destruct magic artifact was supposed to crush his body along with his memories and personality. Hearing the cruel truth spill from his mouth, Seo Ran trembles like an aspen tree. Through heart language, I ask Seo Ran in a way that Seo Atrial cannot hear. If this is too difficult to listen to, speak through your heart. I will shield you from hearing it. However, Seo Ran clenches his teeth and speaks in his heart. Please let me hear it. I will endure it. Understood? Seo Ran asks in a trembling voice. Were you manding me to destroy the Nether crossing ship to liberate the soul of the sea dragon race warrior? Seo Atrial closes his mouth in response to Seo Ran's question, and I speak to him. Answer Seo Ran's question as well. That nascent soul of the nascent soul sea dragon race warrior was merely a tool I prepared to reclaim my own soul. After all, a physical body holds no meaning for me. Instead, the spiritual body formed from a nascent soul is far more useful. I intended to obliterate your body, reset you, and then use the nascent soul of the sea dragon race warrior to implant the correct personality into you. Afterwards, I would remove the soul within the nascent soul and replace it with yours. That way, I could once again possess a correct main body. At this point, I no longer hold Seo Ran by the neck. In any case, as long as he remains within the small dimension I have created, it is no different from being in the palm of my hand. I can release him to the netherworld at any time. Seo Ran screams at those words. Just what is a correct main body? Are you saying that my entire life is wrong? That's right, it's wrong. Coatrial speaks with hollow eyes. Coatrial's life is wrong, and the life of the failure named Coran is also wrong. The error has grown and grown, and before I knew it, reached the 4-axis stage. As expected, I should have used even more extreme methods to reset the main body. Just what is your purpose? For what purpose are you so freely calling me wrong? Just what is it? It's at that moment. Coatrial's lips move. When I asked him before, Coatrial said he would never speak of his purpose. But is it because it's Coran's question? Coatrial, though not fully, answers his question. To find an answer. To find an answer to this hatred. Hatred? What hatred are you talking about? There is none right now. Not within you, not within me. Only when the me who holds the memory and the you who possesses the essence integrate will this hatred emerge, and I must find an answer to it. That is my purpose. Just why is something like that so important? At those words, Coatrial lets out a grotesque laugh, his gaze pitch black as if entirely devoid of pupils. Would you even understand? The vow I made upon your soul, the heart to fulfill my purpose even if it means destroying the world. Don't open your mouth recklessly when you know nothing. You fake. Bujaduk. Veins bulge on Coran's face. I am not the fake. He trembles uncontrollably, clenching his fists tightly as if trying to suppress his anger. Seeing that he might need time, I continue questioning Coatrial. Yuo, the disciple of Black Ghost Valley that Song Jin cherished, who is she? Yuo is obviously Yuo. Coatrial points upward with his finger and speaks. Sacred master of the nether ghost realm, Yuo, dispatched to the head realm under the command of the underworld. She was the sacred master's fragment, but at the same time, split from her connection to the main body due to the head realm's corruption, giving rise to reason, survival instincts, and emotions. She was someone who trembled in fear of death and desperately tried to ascend again through whatever means. A mere ordinary woman. That is Coran's mother. A pawn I intended to use to erode Yuo's main body. That is Yuo's identity. Coatrial continues speaking without pause. You understand, Coran. To erode Yuo, I scattered the soul of the child her fragment had conceived and inserted my main body to erode the sacred master. The result is you. You are the one who killed the Coran who was meant to be born, taking their place. You are nothing but a monster. Coran is trembling. I look at Coran's heart essence and step forward, momentarily pulling him back. Don't meet Coatrial's gaze, Coran. Beyond that empty nothingness, those hollow eyes that draw the opponent into their eerie emptiness. It's not as if he's using any sort of enchantment or a special technique, yet anyone who meets his gaze starts to feel their mental strength deplete. Perhaps this, too, is a kind of immortal art. If wielding the heart is considered an immortal art, then those eyes, stripped of emotion yet seeking for a sense of feeling, could perhaps also be categorized as such. Since I am still not at the level where I can properly utilize immortal arts, I can't say for certain. Blocking the space between Coran and Coatrial for a moment, I question him. This is strange. If what you say is true, wouldn't it have been easier to just send one of your subordinates to kill Coran? At my question, Coatrial responds with an expressionless face. I've tried over 600 million times. The number is far beyond what I expected. But all of them failed. What's the reason? It's partly because of you. But the biggest reason is that Coran, as the core of tainted soul filling the heavens, unconsciously wields it himself. His words spark something in my mind. When I sent subordinates to assassinate Coran, every time other forces, coincidentally, invaded the area and caused wars that killed my subordinates. When I took all precautions and sent subordinates again, they failed to kill Coran for truly absurd reasons. They either mistook a sea dragon race in the next room for Coran, or they got distracted and lost their minds coupling with a passing sea horse maiden. Or, while dealing with the Mad Lord, they died after randomly touching a puppet trap. Or, inexplicably, they realized the futility of life while standing before the sleeping Coran, discarded their weapon, abandoned the assassination, and decided to become a wandering hermit. There's also the time when someone like Yuk Rin, who initially had no interest in Yuk Yo, suddenly became obsessed with her, as Coran desired, relentlessly tormenting both she and Beek Rin. Is this not a situation where the world seems to revolve around Coran? Coran, however faintly, knows how to use tainted soul filling the heavens, Because of that, it's impossible to use someone to kill Ran. Even accidental deaths caused by layered coincidences are impossible. Someone nearby will always coincidentally end up being the one harmed instead of Ran. That is tainted soul filling the heavens. Then, in the end, why don't you just kill him with your own hands? At my words, Coatrial looks up at me. Grin. He gives me that peculiar, grotesque smile of his again. The main body, the core, the pillar of tainted soul filling the heavens. Do you know why I call that thing by those names? As his words continue, I feel an inexplicable unease. Because it's important. I have no emotions, no heart, but I have memories. The memories of how precious the emotions during my childhood will remain in me. All the configurations of Coatrial spread across the sun and moon heavenly domain are united by the central point of cherishing those emotions. If the core is lost, then we will all scatter as separate entities that happen to share the origin called Coatrial. If that happens, it's over. Each and every Coatrial will regain their memories, ego, and emotions, while all the preserved memories and vows of Coatrial will be forgotten. Therefore, from the very start, the configurations derived from tainted soul filling the heavens must be bound by the absolute rule that the entity containing the most precious thing cannot be attacked directly. In other words, for Coatrial to erase the existence of Ran, he can only guide the collapse of Ran's personality. The only one who can kill Ran is Ran himself. For now, let's continue this conversation elsewhere. The time for hidden heavens beyond the path is running out. Soon, the sacred masters will rush to this place. Provide me with a place to hide from the sacred masters, Coatrial. In truth, I doubt there's such a place in the sun and moon heavenly domain. After all, the sacred masters of the middle realms are practically true immortals. It's only normal for there not to be a place to escape from 5 true immortals. However, for some reason, I feel like Coatrial might know of such a place. And as expected, Coatrial gives me an immediate answer. Go to the peaceful cloud realm. If it's there, you'll be able to hide sufficiently. Understood. Pay it. After ejecting Coatrial outside, I quickly take only Ran with me and board the path of stars to return to the peaceful cloud realm. Wu-Wung. After shutting down the teleportation array in the peaceful cloud realm, I ask Coatrial again. So just hiding here won't be enough. What should I do, Coatrial? Wu-Wung. Coatrial's figure emerges once again in the darkness and speaks to me. Why do you think the sacred masters are chasing only you and not those sacred vessel sisters from earlier, Seo Yunhyan? Why? Because you're a freshly advanced new sacred vessel. To appoint a successor for the middle realms, the sacred vessel must first be in a non-sacred master state. That is, they must not already be governing a domain such as a star system or a middle realm. Sacred vessels who have built experience to a certain extent can travel the astral realm and quickly harmonize with a fixed star using their own accumulated experience to become sacred masters of stellar systems. But you're different. Since you've never been a sacred master, they can capture you and immediately make you the sacred master of their middle realm. I notice something strange in Coatrial's words. Becoming a sacred master of a star system seems to require special experience, but becoming a sacred master of a middle realm is something that can happen instantly if they wanted to. That's right. To be precise, sacred masters who manage the corpses of true immortals can make the appointment instantly. Coatrial avoids saying middle realms and instead uses the term corpses of true immortals. From that, I feel like I can understand what he's implying. You, don't tell me you're suggesting I become the sacred master of this peaceful cloud realm. I ask again, slightly taken aback. No, is it even possible to become a sacred master of a decaying corpse realm? I thought it was only possible for middle realms. In the past, I wouldn't have acted so ignorant in front of Coatrial. Revealing my lack of knowledge to him would have been akin to exposing my weaknesses. But now it doesn't matter. I have control of his main body, so what could he possibly do? Coatrial nods at my words. Decaying corpse realms can indeed serve as a training ground for sacred masters. If you become the sacred master of the peaceful cloud realm and hold a defensive battle here, even the sacred masters of the middle realms will only be able to scream in frustration and stomp their feet, unable to do anything. That's strange, but I've never heard of any sacred master cultivation methods involving the decaying corpse realms. Surely there's a reason why no one uses it. What are the side effects of cultivating as a sacred master through a decaying corpse realm? If, during your cultivation in the decaying corpse realm, you fail to properly supply the realm with energy, the sacred master can dissolve into the realm itself and become its nourishment. As expected, this guy is someone I can't let my guard down around. If I hadn't asked, he clearly wouldn't have uttered a single word about the side effects. Even now, when his lifeline is in my hands, this guy is subtly trying to pull his tricks. Coatrial is coatrial. Just because I've got him by the throat doesn't mean I can let my guard down. Are there any other side effects of the decaying corpse realm cultivation that you haven't told me? That's all I know as of currently. Are there any other side effects with the peaceful cloud realm? As far as I know, the path of stars is formed by entering nirvana true persons disguising themselves. Annoyed by his subtle attempts to gloss over the truth of the peaceful cloud realm, I press him further. The peaceful cloud realm, strictly speaking, is not an entering nirvana true person. What? It's just a fragment of a true immortal's corpse that developed consciousness. When the power of that consciousness combines with the power of the peaceful cloud realm, it reaches a level equivalent to that of a true person, becoming the starting point of the path of stars. Wait, so you're telling me to become the sacred master of the peaceful cloud realm, which still has consciousness? And what do you think that consciousness will do to me? It will show a favorable reaction, that I can guarantee. What? At his following words, I can't help but flinch in surprise. The peaceful cloud realm was originally one of the cultivation locations I found for Ohicio for after she advances to the sacred vessel stage. From the beginning, the will of the peaceful cloud realm seemed to show joy to Ohicio, saying it had been waiting for someone like her, a heavenly rejected, for a long time. It even said that when she or anyone like her becomes a sacred vessel, they should come find it any time. It claimed it would embrace them. Swear it upon Sioran. I swear it upon my childhood in Sioran. This story is true. Moreover, I swear upon my main body that the peaceful cloud realm is safe. I nod and receive some additional information from Coatrial. For now, rejecting the sacred master's proposals temporarily would be the most appropriate course of action. The sacred masters of the middle realms cannot relinquish their position until a successor is chosen. However, in cases of sacred masters of decaying corpse realms, sacred masters or star systems, according to Coatrial, they can step down anytime within an appropriate time frame, even without successors. I have no intention of taking on the role of a sacred master until I overcome the end. Preparing for the end within the middle realms is a task the sacred masters should do. It's not something a fledgling sacred vessel like me can do. Rather, if I try to do so as a novice, I could lead countless living beings to their deaths. Therefore, taking over the position of sacred master of a middle realm must be postponed until at least 10,000 years later. After the beginning of the world starts. Honestly, even after the new world begins, I'm not sure if I'll take on the middle realm's sacred master position. I do feel a bit sorry for Banta, but I clearly saw it. The symbol of the purple gold realm, inscribed with Radiance Hall. Whether the purple gold heavenly lord is a traitor or not, they were still part of the forces of light. It feels as unsettling as when Beek-Woon gave me an esteemed one title. Becoming the sacred master of the purple gold realm might naturally give the forces of light a pretense. As long as there is no telling when the sword spear heavenly lord might reappear and molest my shoulders, it won't hurt to remain cautious. Therefore, after becoming the sacred master of the peaceful cloud realm, I will expand my options before taking on the middle realm's sacred master position. While the sacred masters desperately searching for successors seem a little pitiful, I can't become their replacement out of mere sympathy. Wowen. My celestial energy completely frees itself from the influence of hidden heavens beyond the path. And I also become aware that the sacred masters searching for me have succeeded in locating me through divination. Very well, I shall become the sacred master of the peaceful cloud realm right now. Wowen. I then begin to synchronize my consciousness with the peaceful cloud realm. Far off in the astral realm, I can sense 5 sacred masters crossing spacetime like mad to reach me. They have realized what I am doing. I reveal my main body. Wowen. Having become the flow of the universe itself, I unveil my main body that is the orbit, surrounding the sky above the peaceful cloud realm's peaceful continent. Synchronize the flow of the peaceful cloud realm with my own. I look at the sacred vessel formula handed to me by the two sisters. The sacred vessel cultivation formula is as follows. Through the activation of the 5 epochs and 3 virtues, awaken the attraction force of the fate of 8 paths. Year Chinese letter, month Chinese letter, day Chinese letter, hour letter F971, and calendar letter F98C. In correctness Chinese letter, strongness Chinese letter, and mildness Chinese letter. The sacred vessel formula is based on these 8 principles, supplemented by the commentary annotations of the sacred vessel immortal treasure sisters. The early sacred vessel stage is the rotation of the nebula. Most sacred vessel sacred masters during this phase focus on the 5 epochs, year, month, day, hour, and calendar. One must acquire these 5 laws from the world, seize control of them, and establish them with one's own hands. Once the establishment of these laws is complete, the nebula condenses toward the center of the rotating ring, and light begins to emerge. The sacred master's main body gradually transforms into a fixed star, advancing to the mid-stage. The mid-stage is the fixed star. At this stage, the sacred master cultivates the attraction force of correctness, Chinese letter, realizing the correctness and straightforwardness, Chinese letter, of attraction force. The late stage is the red giant stage. At this stage, the sacred master cultivates the attraction force of strongness, Chinese letter, realizing the strong rule, Chinese letter, of attraction force. Grand perfection is the dwarf star. At this stage, the sacred master cultivates the attraction force of mildness, Chinese letter, understanding the mild rule of attraction force. Throughout this entire process, the sacred master oversees the 8 necessities of life for the living beings within the world they govern. Food Chinese letter, sustenance. Wealth Chinese letter, economy. Sacrifice Chinese letter, ritual worship. Minister of Works Chinese letter, territory. Minister of Education Chinese letter, education and enlightenment. Minister of Justice Chinese letter, law and order. Diplomacy Chinese letter, guests and foreign relations. Army Chinese letter, general. Using these 8 essentials for living beings and through their own life, the sacred master gradually elevates the principles to the plane of fate, or in the case of the earth tribe, completely descends to the plane of qi. Once the 8 paths, Chinese letter, are completed, adding the royal perfection, Chinese letter, results in what is called an entering nirvana stage true person. In other words, the key to the sacred vessel stage is cultivating the 8 paths through the 5 epochs and 3 virtues. Woven. I begin to synchronize crystal glass to treading sea with the peaceful cloud realm. Crystal glass to treading sea great star seems to divide into 8 directions, revealing the 8 domains of the 8 paths I will cultivate in the future. Establishing the laws of the peaceful cloud realm through the 5 epochs and 3 virtues, and then cultivating the 8 paths. This is precisely what I must accomplish moving forward. Wu Weng. Master, is there anything I can assist with? Hong Fan sends me a heart message. Although he hasn't reached entering heavens in this lifetime, he still seems to be at the level of sending heart messages. After replying that I am fine, I refocus my consciousness. Kagagugu. Before long, I sense the sacred masters of the middle realms approaching quite closely. They've already entered within 6,000 light years. In half the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, 5 mins, they'll probably pinpoint my location and arrive in an instant. I need to hurry with the synchronization. Quarvirung. Sure enough, giant totem poles the size of planets come hurtling from the distant expanse, relentlessly striking the peaceful cloud realm. Kagagugu. The world flickers and shakes violently. As I begin synchronizing with the world, I feel as though my internal organs are being churned, and I shake my head to dispel the sensation. I can feel Banta desperately trying to stop me. If he arrives here, he will undoubtedly cease any pretense of a polite invitation and attempt to capture me, throwing me into Banta Castle. Quarvirung. Banta hurls totem poles madly once again. The totem poles embed into the peaceful cloud realm repeatedly. However, it seems he cannot pinpoint the exact location, as they occasionally embed themselves in other planets near the peaceful cloud realm. I can feel Banta's will from the totem poles he throws. Through that will, I can sense Banta desperately sending me a message. Haha, Taoist CEO, calm down and listen to me for a moment. First, let me explain the dignity of our purple gold realm. The purple gold realm possesses a magnificent civilization that has flourished remarkably under my reign for 500,000 years of history. Are you perhaps interested in reproduction? If so, the males and females of the purple gold realm would make excellent choices. You human race may claim that the devil race cuisine you make is the best delicacy in the entirety of the middle realms, but the purple gold realm's flame-grilled sea cucumbers does not fall short even a bit. The taste is truly divine. What does it taste like to be that good? Banta's voice is genuinely desperate, and it begins to intensify. Hey, calm down, Taoist CEO. I don't know which star system you're conducting the synchronization ritual right now, but please listen to me words just for a moment. Please just wait. I'll give you my sacred master position, Banta Castle, and even my Jade seal, so please just wait. Wait, stop, I said stop, stoop. There isn't a single Dharma treasure that the purple gold realm doesn't have, and this isn't an exaggeration. Even the other sacred masters acknowledge this. The Dharma treasure techniques of our purple gold realm are the best in the middle realms. I can even strengthen your Dharma treasure. I'm saying there are a lot of people in the purple gold realm with the extraordinary pattern law talent. I've heard there's one among your comrades. I'll give a method suitable for the extraordinary pattern law talent. What do you want? I'm asking how much will it take? How much? The purple gold realm even has an immortal arts library. I'll teach you any immortal art you wish to learn. Wait, please, just wait. Let's share a conversation for just the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, tilde 15 mins. Seo Yunhayan, stop for a moment, just for a moment. Hallelujah. Quieting. As if drawing forth even his true origin energy, while hurling his totem pole spell at me. The purple light emanating from the totem poles grows darker and more powerful. As I become synchronized with the peaceful cloud realm, every time a totem pole strikes the peaceful cloud realm, the impact is transmitted as pain to me. It hurts. In this state, it'll be difficult to continue the synchronization ritual. Moreover, if I were to respond to the consciousness imbued in those totem poles, Banta would immediately pinpoint my exact location. Thus, I absolutely cannot respond. However, using my unshakable heart, I close my eyes. Even in this state, I remain vigilant against Cohl, protecting Ran, and while enduring the worst synchronization ritual, I melt into the peaceful cloud realm. I can do this. This level of pain is nothing to me. Parrot. Internally reciting the formula of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I calm and focus my mind. The furious roars of Banta, which sounds like the cries of a wicked heart demon trying to disrupt my concentration, no longer reaches me at some point amidst my continued focus. Here I go. Wu-wung. The orbit I unfold splits into 8 domains, seeping into the sky of the peaceful cloud realm, and begins to absorb the light of the realm. The sacred vessel stage is ultimately a position of managing the world's light. Without light, no living beings can survive. Starting with Beek Woon and Hei Lin, to Yu O and Ya Eam, who oversee the nether ghost realm and true devil realm, all of them. In truth, they preside over the light of the middle realms. Only now do I understand how the vast bright cold realm managed to maintain nearly uniform cycles of day and night across all its lands. Beek Woon has been managing the sunlight, moonlight, and starlight of the bright cold realm, aligning its day and night. It's the same for the ancient force realm. There they have no sun or moon. Instead, something resembling a ring manages day and night. The true devil realm, the nether ghost realm, and the purple gold realm are all likely the same. Parrot. The light of the peaceful cloud realm completely seeps into my body. And in an instant, Quarvirurung, the heaven and earth spiritual energy of the peaceful cloud realm converges into a single place. At the forefront of peaceful cloud, in the center of the sea known as the peaceful cloud Great Sea. At the exact center of this peaceful cloud realm, a space begins to form for me. Just like the heavenly lotus mountain of the bright cold realm, the blood sacrificial altar of the true devil realm, the black palace of the nether ghost realm, the sea king hall of the ancient force realm, and Banta castle of the purple gold realm, this world is preparing a palace to accept me. Wararak. In the case of the sacred master palace, the palace reflects the heart essence and preferences of the respective sacred master. And what emerges from reflecting on my heart essence is a familiar mountain. A mountain made of glass. It resembles the image within my heart essence quite closely. However, is it perhaps due to the influence of the peaceful cloud realm's energy? For some reason, instead of just ordinary glass swords embedded in the mountain like in my heart essence, the mountain is covered with glass blade-like trees. I look at the shape of those trees and immediately recognize what they are. Cedar wood. I recall Jang Ik's words, saying that once I visit the peaceful cloud realm, I would understand why the Heart Tribe territory is called Cedar Wood Grove. Indeed, the peaceful cloud realm seems to have some sort of connection with cedarwood. I briefly ponder over a name. Yunhyan Great Mountain, Yunhyan Castle, Yunhyan Palace, Triple-Headed General Seo Divine Palace. No. After deliberating for a while on the most dignified name, I finally decide on the name for my sacred master palace. Glass Cedarwood Mountain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. That shall be your name. Kugagung. The moment I name Glass Cedarwood Mountain, I feel that I am now completely connected to the peaceful cloud realm. Simultaneously, I feel as though I have become one body with this decaying corpse realm, can now borrow the power of the peaceful cloud realm, and subtly adjust the fates within it through my authority. Wu-Weng. At the same time, the will of the peaceful cloud realm whispers something into my mind. So it wasn't the peaceful cloud realm. As I sit atop the summit of Glass Cedarwood Mountain, I speak the true name of this world aloud. Cedarwood painting, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. That is the name of this place. Kwung. The moment I utter that true name, a steel made of salt crystal crashes down before me. On the steel, the world's name, cedarwood painting, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, is engraved. Wu-Weng. I imbue the steel with my consciousness. At the same time, the 5 sacred masters of the middle realms at last encircle this world. Payet. I send a colossal projection outside the world. It is a projection created using the power of cedarwood painting. The expressions of the sacred masters shift continuously as they gaze upon my projection. Greetings, seniors. This surname Seo finds this world to his liking. I have decided to act as the sacred master of this decaying corpse realm for the time being. Please allow me to reintroduce myself. I bow to them, introducing myself. Sacred master of cedarwood painting, I am Seo Yunhyan. Then Ban Ta's horrific wail echoes across the entire universe. Thus, amid Ban Ta's anguished cries, I rise proudly as the sacred master of cedarwood painting.